We're starting. Hi.
Hi.
Hello. Welcome to this week's Talk Tuesday live stream with me, your host, Winters SEO, and
Sam, Sultan. I wasn't ready for that. That's not how you introed me last time.
how did I introduce you?
You said say hi, Sultan. That's the
say,
usual.
Say hi,
Yeah.
Sultan.
Yeah. Hi,
One
Sultan.
minute. I'm
Done that.
gonna. This is. We can edit this.
No, we can't. You always...
Talk to. I need to.
No, I don't. Why do you always leave me?
1 minute.
Does he always leave at the start of a stream? Like at all? Because he just leaves me to it. Oh, he's back. Oh, thank goodness.
I've got my.
What kind of rag is that? What's that for? What do you do on these streams? Put your leg down. You'll get demonetized.
Look at that. Flesh. A bit of flesh. I've noticed how shiny my face is. So I was thinking if I brought a tea towel, then maybe I could make it less shiny by wiping my face every now and then, because I got the summer hat on because it's hot. But wiping my face didn't make it less shiny. How come my face is all shiny and your face is not shiny?
Because I showered.
I showered as well.
Yeah, but I showered just before the stream. Like before I came over. Because I've been sat all day in a house and it's hot. Don't sniff me. Get away. Get away from me. Stop it.
You've got that imperial leather smell. Do you know what imperial leather is?
I seem to remember adverts about them, but that's about it.
You know, the soap which ends up with the nipple in the middle of it because of the little bit of thing on the soap which made the soap nipple. But these days, kids, I guess, don't have bars of soaps. They have tubes and pastes and spray cans of soaps and things.
I don't
but
think I don't think it's just children who have that. But yeah.
We had bar of soap. Do you remember bar of soap?
Yeah, I remember bar of soap and the horror that it wrought.
Do you remember using tracing paper to wipe your bum at school?
One ply toilet paper, yeah. Yeah.
Chat, am I the only person here? No, not one ply toilet paper. Chat, there must be someone else in the chat who used actual tracing. You know,
it was almost like wax paper, yeah.
Yeah.
As in, like, it was supplied for that use. It
was supplied for toilet paper.
Because it was like, if you've been just going from like arts and crafts into the toilet with tracing paper, I think that's like you.
No, it was proper toilet roll, but it was tracing paper toilet roll.
Great. What a good start.
Jared said yes.
Yeah.
Hi, friendly neighbourhood inquisitor. See, kids these days don't know about the sandpaper bumhole stuff. And it's hot in here. It's too hot to paint. Okay? I've got my summer hat on. Sultan's here. Say hi, Sultan. We said that bit already.
Hi, Sultan. We said that bit already.
It's too hot to paint.
It is too hot to paint. So what best to do if you can't paint? Talk about painting. And talk about Warhammers and things.
Yes. Before we do, because I've got a lot of things to ask you.
Me?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's dive into the chat. Let's test the thing. I've got my eyes today are a bit because of the sun. I need to. We see basically at the start of this live stream process, I didn't need these. Right?
Yeah.
And I've only been live streaming for like a year, maybe two tops. So in that time, my body's falling apart, diving off a cliff. Before you know it, people will be watching the live stream and my teeth will all be out, and I'll have a third nostril in the middle of my forehead or something. Yeah.
I'm listening.
Let's check the chat. Hi, Sultan Winters. Hi. I remember that bog roll from primary school. So do I. Too hot to paint, so you invited someone else into a crowded room. Laws make sense. No? See, that's not what occurred here. I didn't invite Sultan. I unlocked the crate and he crawled out of it. I couldn't keep him in the crate all day.
As in the hot box.
Yeah. That's
We
Quitter
don't like
words.
the hot
Get
box.
the paint. That's Quitter words, says AB. Get the painting going on those Empress children.
Yeah, see, the reason that's addressed as you is because they know that despite the fact it's too hot to paint, I have been painting today.
What have you painted today?
I've been painting some Custodian Wardens.
Custodian Wardens.
I'm repainting my entire... They're the ones with the big axes. But
And
they're good
they
Custodian.
have
got
robes.
Yeah. I'm repainting my entire Custodes force.
Why are you repainting? How many points or have you got? 3, 4?
I don't know. I know that my 2,000 point list is only 28 models, so won't take long to do.
A 2,000 point list is only 28 models.
Yeah, I've
remember
already
in
done
the 8th edition when a 2,000 point list was only 8 models.
Yeah.
But that was only 28 models. Thank you, Friday Neighbourhood Inquisitor, for gifting the membership. I appreciate you, fam. GG's, dude. GG's. You're repainting them.
Yeah.
So you've decided to look... Okay, again in the chat. anyone else has decided to look at an entire collection of miniatures and go, I know what I need is to repaint all the... Why are you repainting your entire collection?
I've done this multiple times. I'm a big advocate for repainting models. Like, because one, it's free. And two, you're making more things you already own better. You don't have to completely repaint them, like I am in this case, but sometimes like you can just make models better. So like, say you used to do dry brushing and now you like doing edge highlighting. You just do some edge highlighting. Update it. Make the model look nicer. It's a free hobby.
You really like painting.
Yeah, well, it's the hobby, isn't it?
He loves...
Build, paint, play.
Build, paint, play.
Our entire third of it is paint.
Some people don't even paint.
Well, I mean, that's what you call a quitter.
I was talking to a dude, right, who went to his first tournament. He will remain nameless, but he may or may not appear in a battle report really soon. He went to his first tournament. He's like a 40-year-old man. Finally goes to his first tournament, right? And talking about painting, he said on one occasion there was a guy and he sprayed his army black with gold highlights. And he's like, that's not really battle ready.
It's not even 3-coat minimum.
And the guy said, well, I brought my dry brush and some grey, and he pulled out like a big Dulux brush.
Nice.
And I can dry brush them all grey right now if you want me to go for the 3-coat. And he's like, no, it's fine. So it's just
It's like I've never been one to ever say anything about the points thing, the paint extended points.
So he did mention it because the guy was an absolute dick.
Sweatlord, yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah,
picking him up on every little thing. Like he won one game, lost all the rest of them, and I think he lost the nightmare stories he had. He had a torrid time. But
don't do tournaments, kids.
Well, no. If you want to, you can. Some people like it. It's like the same guy. He asked him like how many armies do you have? He said all of them. He's like, what? You've got all? Yeah. I got all the armies. So which one do you play? What everyone's best? What everyone's best to play there?
Oh, best. What's best?
So that guy
is that best as in their favourite at that moment, or best as in the meta?
He must be a billionaire for a start to own all the armies, right? That's a lot of money. And half a lung, and maybe a lower kidney.
I mean, I could own all the armies, but unfortunately, of most of my armies, they're Space Marines. So instead of going, I should get this different army, I did Space Marines 9 times. Which
is another conversation I wanted to talk to you about. Thank you, Stranger Come Knockings, for gifting 5 memberships. You absolute legend. Can we get GG's in the chat for Stranger Come Knockings, please? Does anyone else repainted an entire army? Winters didn't invite him. Sultan's always under the desk. Exactly. Yes. Eternal Crusader is repainting his entire Death Guard collection. And Freddy Neighbourhood Inquisitor's done that 3 times with his Space Marines. He's in the middle of that right now. The Eternal Crusader, some are swimming in alcohol. So when you're repainting your entire Custodes, right?
Yeah.
Do you drop them in the alcohol, in the Dettol or anything? What do you do?
No, because I've painted these to begin with. I know there's only one coat of paint and it's, well, it's one layer of paint and it's like thin. Because I paint, sometimes when you buy models secondhand, they're really chunky paint on them.
Yes.
So you have to strip them.
Right.
I know from my experience of painting these, I don't need to thing. If I ever were to repaint them again, which I'm not necessarily planning to,
stylist, look.
I would probably strip them. But because there's only like one layer on there, like one layer of paint, I'm good to go.
Okay, so because you touched the little men beforehand, you know exactly how the little men have been touched.
Constitutes their like if you buy a second-hand model and it's got like someone might have repainted it 2 or 3 times, you're like, I need to give that a scritch with a toothbrush and some bio strip.
Right.
But like I did that with my lizard men when I bought them second hand. Like I stripped them off and then painted them.
So are they still gold when you repainting them? Are they still?
No, they're solar watch. So Custodes are easy, right? So Custodes are easy. You paint them gold. So what can you do to make Custodes like absolute hard mode? Paint them white, and then do blue shades and gold, and then highlight the gold. But make sure you don't get any of the gold or the wash or the highlight for the gold on the white, otherwise you've failed.
Were they solar watch before?
No, they were gold.
So you're going from gold to white?
Yeah, so the gold was easy. I painted them in a day or something silly way back when. Yeah. So in a couple of days. So now it's just like, make them what I want them to be.
Who paints an army in a day?
Well, not. I mean,
they
were just battle ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have more than 28 miniatures.
Black with gold hot trim. bit.
No, they sprayed gold and then do the wash and then do the highlights and then do the red and the stuff. It was a long day.
Yeah.
But it was Custodes, and it was a test to see if I could do it. There's a video on my channel from years ago where I did it.
Have you done the Custodes now? Is that
No, I've done 8 of them, and I've got another 4 on my desk at the moment.
Right.
I literally only started 2 days ago.
I've got to start fresh. Doesn't feel right painting over old paint. I'm repainting my bugs to match my friend's paint scheme. Kraken 2 Leviathan makes our Apocalypse games more cohesive. You're doing it for the love of the hobby.
Just wanted to paint them.
Build, paint, play.
Or in my case, build, paint, get angry.
Why get angry?
You know, start playing the game and like, I do this action and I win the game. Oh, actions. We played the cards the other day and I was getting really annoyed with the cards.
We do... half of our games are cards, I would say. Half of them we just do something else.
Yeah, half of them are cards, half of them are fun.
Well, the card ones can be quite fun as well. I think.
Depends on the game.
No,
I like the new card thing with the free stratagem.
See the cards. That's the game. That's Warhammer 40k right now. That is the game. If you started the hobby today and went to the shops and bought the thing and came back, that's the game you're playing. And I'm just... Sometimes the Warhammer 40k games are good. Sometimes the Warhammer 40k games are not good.
40k games at the moment are okay.
And the edition comes and goes, and the codexes come and goes, but the collections are for lifetime.
Exactly, and that's why repainting your armies, because you know you want to keep them. It's good to go. It's like I've got plans. I've got loads of plans. I've got so much hobby stuff going on. I've repainted an Imperial Knight a little while ago, and then I just got a bunch of Imperial Knights off of Dark Angels Chris.
Right.
In exchange for some Deathwing Knights. We swapped a Knight for a different type of Knight.
Yeah.
So I got 2 big chunky Paladin style guys to do, and I'll repaint them.
For
my army.
Custodes.
They're Knights. They're Imperial
Knights.
Yeah,
Knights.
yeah.
Sorry, Knights.
So yeah, that's just the hobby stuff like that. They will be repainted, but they're second hand to me, so I never painted them to begin with.
Okay.
So there's them. I repainted one of my own Knights a little while back.
Right.
I've got some more armigers to do. So the Imperial Knights are on the way. I've got what's the guy with the big sword? Castigator?
Yes.
Yeah, I got one of him.
So the Knights are on the way.
Yeah.
And Space Wolves came out on Tuesday, like a couple of days ago. How much have you painted Space Wolves? Because Stranger to Come Knocking says, it literally makes me feel sick how fast you paint stuff. Space Wolves came out 2 days ago. How many... You've now started collecting Space Wolves.
Of course.
Of course.
Yeah. Well, it's the refresh, isn't it?
And then how much Space Wolves have you got and painted in 2 days?
It wasn't It was like early June or something. So
was it?
Yeah.
2 weeks.
It was a little while ago. It was the 14th of June or something. I remember.
It's hot in here.
It is hot in here. I did. I've got.
Did you do the box?
I did the box, and then I bought an extra 20 troops, and then I did them too.
How many troops are in the box?
20. So it's 20. There's 10 Grey Hunters, 10 Blood Claws, a Battle Leader, and a Wolf Priest, and then the 3 Head Takers with their 3 doggos in the box. So there's like some models, and there's like 28 models in the box, and then I bought another 10 Grey Hunters and another 10 Blood Claws, and I painted them. And
you've added all that, and now you're a Space Wolves collector.
Well, I mean, yeah, sure, yeah, collector, not necessarily player, because only 800 points. Those 48 models are only like 800 points.
You're doing the build and paint part.
Yeah.
So you're about 1,000 points deep.
Not quite.
Painted into
Space Wolves. I've got Logan Grimnar and all the boys on the way.
You can't just dry brush them. Space Wolves have got pelts and fur, and boots with the fur.
I don't do dry brushing anyway these days, personally. So yeah, I know the 2007 whatever song. So yeah, I just I don't dry brush anymore.
Oh
no,
dry brushes. I couldn't live without my dry brush.
Yes, you do.
Dry brush and washing.
It's good. It's a good look. It works.
It's quick and it achieves a certain effect that
But no, the Space Wolves I did. I do the shading. I do like the panel lining. Call it, but like you do it with a brush, and I do it with grey, and then I do all the chipping with the grey, and then do all the highlighting with off white. It's good.
What is TC?
Trench Crusade.
You want to play TC in October instead? I've got all the shiz we need.
Trench Crusade.
I really want to give Trench Crusade a go.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I like Jim's gone for the My Army Sultan's Janissaries.
Has he?
Literally, yeah, the Sultan of the Ottoman Empire. He's got Janissaries and stuff, and they're lions.
Because I know Trench Crusade is a skirmish game. It's only like 10 models or something. Yeah.
Apparently, it's quite quick to pick up.
It's all created by the people who basically invented Games Workshop.
Yeah.
all the lead writers who made all the OG games back in the day, they've all retired. They've all left Games Workshop. They all know each other. They're all in various WhatsApp groups. They're all around each other's houses.
Yeah.
They're all godfathers and things like. And they grew, 30 years in a business. They left and like, what do we do now? Well, they're games designers.
another
Let's
game.
make another game.
Oh no, we're millionaires
John Blanche
again.
is doing artwork and
Is
things.
John Blanche doing the artwork?
He's involved with some of the
Really?
artwork. Yeah.
Oh.
Everyone's.
I know one of
Bob,
the
Nate,
GW guys
pick
did
a name and
Blood
they're
Red
involved.
Skies,
'Cause
which is
I
the
know-
RAF one.
Because when they were setting it up a couple of years ago, James from marchofwar.co.uk,
Yes.
he was talking to them. So James told me all about it because he was talking to them because they were coming to him with got these ideas about miniature design because James makes a lot of sculpts and he makes lots of stuff and he's done lots of his own miniatures and he's made lots of his own sculptures, and so he lives close. So they were talking to him about how do you do this and how do you do that and what would that look like and da da da. So James had quite a few conversations with them way back before it even started. So I knew about it before the thing became a thing. And so I was excited about it when I heard about it years ago with James. Now I'm excited about it. Now it's all in the Kickstarter mode. And then when it comes out, I want to play it. I want to give it a go.
I like the Antioch guys, like the knights, but they're First World War soldiers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alternative timeline, hell on earth, Doomslayer, going at it.
Yeah.
In the trenches.
Having
Off
a
we
go. Yeah. I'll answer Eternal Crusade as well. Sultan, how many of the new Black Templar models are you picking up? I'm getting 2 of the new Ancients and 3 of the Angry Chaps. I might get 1 of each. That's it. I don't think I need more than that. I don't like dual running characters where I can help it. Like I don't even like running more than 1 captain, but because we don't have lieutenant models for jump packs and Gravis and stuff, I run multiple captains sometimes.
Yeah.
So
And
1 of each.
Stranger Come Knocking Hobbies, Winters, you want to play Trench Crusade and Nocturne?
He's already answered that,
The
yeah.
answer to that is yes, and the answer to that is come down more, come here more, teach me Trench Crusade again and again and over, and play it 3 or 4 times off camera, and then another time on camera, and then let's get it filmed, let's get it out there. Yeah, I'm very interested in giving that system. I like rolling dice. Do you like rolling dice?
Yeah, sometimes.
I like 6s. I like 1s. 2s and 3s, yeah. 5s and 6s are pretty good as well. 2s and 3s, I don't. But 1s, great. 6s, great.
You like a 5.
5s are good. 6s best, and 1s are best.
No, you like a 5.
Because if 6 happens, something always happens, and if a 1 happens, something's always happens.
You like a 5 up fill no pain.
Unless you're playing Warhammer 40k, then sometimes just 1s are 6s and your 6s and 1s. But I like dice rolling. It's nice, and so we see. Yeah, I'm building Templars that are the
Termites.
I see you need these termites that are the size of large acorns.
Termite drills for Legions Imperialis.
Yes, man. Legion Imperialis, the little diddy tanks.
Yeah.
Have you got a Legion Imperialis army? You
I
still
do.
got that little baby one?
Yeah.
Was it Space Marines or?
I got Auxilia and Monkey took the Space Marines and did Space Wolves.
Yeah.
And I've got my favourite bits of the entire army with the 2 Warhounds.
Yeah.
Because that's what I painted, the little Warhounds, and then I was like, the scheme I've chosen for these Warhounds, they're essentially my test models of my Imperial Knight army.
Nice.
So I was like, oh. So what is going to happen is I've done these little Warhounds, they're great, so I did an Armiger. I was like, that's great, and I did an Acheron, one of the massive ones, because I had won one at one of your events.
Acheron, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, the
Did
big
you?
one with the big flamer.
Nice.
I think I might have done them first. I was like, oh, these are great, and I was going up thinking, I was like, I've got Imperial Knights now, and at some point I'll end up with a full-size Warhound, and the cycle will be complete.
Yeah.
I don't know when that would be. It might be never.
You, 1 minute. So you're saying live that you're getting a Warhound Titan?
One day. One day.
When are you getting the Warhound Titan?
One day. I'm about to move house. I got no time for anything like that. I've already got so much sat on my desk at the moment. I've got to finish off my Blood Angels stuff because I've refreshed them slightly. Again, repaint, change, update. My Death Company for March of... No, not that one. Gehenna. The End of the Death that you're hosting in September.
September the 27th and 28th. September 27th, 28th. End in the Death narrative campaign. Tickets available from marchofwar.co.uk.
Yes. And yeah, I'm bringing a full Death Company army. So I already have the models and I've done them, but the list I particularly want to run because GW keep changing the points. what was, I think, like a almost 2,500 point list back when the Codex released is now closer to 2. So there's some little things I need to do to change it.
Right.
So yeah, I'll be doing that. That'll be fun because I don't mind them being left behind
Okay.
in Gehenna.
Okay. Well, they're Death Company. They're here to die.
Yeah, the chaplain. The only ones who aren't insane are the couple of chaplains that have stuck with them.
Yes.
So
Yes.
and they've volunteered because
Yes.
you don't leave brothers behind. So there's that. Yeah, Imperial Knights, as we said. Lots of
Knights,
stuff. Space
Wolves, Custodes.
Yeah. Grey
Death
Knights.
Company.
Grey Knights have just reached 2,000 points. They're on pause now.
Grey
for a little
Knights, you did a nice, cool. Check out Sultan's Instagram because he's got a really cool looking.
While. Like the
Dread
Obi-Wan
Knight.
Kenobi.
Yeah, with the sword
Yeah.
thing. We'll get that on their channel at some point as well because I'm fighting you again soon. So we'll get the Grey Knights back. But the problem is, if we get the Grey Knights on, then the only armies that I have with demons in it are Death Guard, and then they're unkillable, and Emperor's Children, and then you roll over them.
Yeah, there's no in between.
There's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
I could bring up like Chaos Knights because they're demon engines, but against Grey Knights, which struggle against high toughness,
Yeah.
then it's then it's the other side. It's such a topsy-turvy meta at the moment. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's almost like I think of everything there. What we really need to say is that the Grey Knights, the Grey Knights, the Death Guard are broken.
Well,
The Emperor's Children need a buff.
Yeah.
The Death Guard need to be removed from the game entirely because they're an awful army and shouldn't exist.
You know,
and then Knights and Knights, so you're going to get rolled over by them.
Okay.
Especially now you can bring 400 in an army.
This game's coming out tomorrow. The Ambush game. Death Guard, Raven Guard.
Oh.
So
I thought that had already come out.
that's coming out for Winter's Tier 3 channel members on Winter's Wednesdays. It's coming out tomorrow. Death Guard strong. Death
Don't
Guard
spoil it.
versus Chewie went up recently. 3,500 points. That was strong. That was against Grey Knights. I think I've consistently said that Death Guard are a bit broken right now.
I've said more than a bit broken.
They're a bit broken.
They are disgusting.
Raging Horn. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate your Raging Horn, sir. Badum-tish. Can we get a GG's in the chat for Raging Horn, please?
Oh.
Raging Horn says, trying to finish my Death Watch for End and the Death. Black. You're doing Death Company. He's doing Death Watch.
Yeah.
But at this rate, I'm more likely to have to bring Death Guard or Grey Knights. Got the digs booked. Any ideas how I tried to get a game the night before?
Go in the Discord and ask.
Yeah, if you're in Discord, you'll see it hot up before the event. People talking about playing games the night before. The other thing that will happen is we'll be there on Friday. We tend to get there like 5-6 o'clock at night, somewhere around that time.
Depends on the traffic.
Between 4 and 6 is the window.
Yeah.
We'll be there, and so come up and see us, me or Brap or someone, and tap them on the shoulder and ask them for a game. And if they're not playing a game, they'll introduce you to someone. Basically, go in the Discord or turn up the night before the event at Element and come and see me, and we'll set something up. There'll be people there floating around for a game. The Friday night is one of the best nights because everyone's new, everyone's fresh, no one's worn out after days and days and days. It's good fun.
What are they doing? What was that? Drinking?
Drinking.
Yeah, you just did a lot of double fist in there.
Paco the Taco Bender, thank you for your donations. GG's in the chat. Reminder, you promised us a recap video of the End and the Death for those of us that can't make it. Did I? I have no recollection of that whatsoever, Your Honour.
Well, that's why they've reminded you.
Yeah.
You've got a full month to prepare. You've got a full 2 months to prepare.
Yeah, if you don't remind me on like the Tuesday before the narrative event, I'm likely to forget unless one of the post-it notes goes up on the wall saying, hey, do a little...
I mean, I'm not going to remind you.
You're not? No.
No, I don't care.
You don't care?
No.
No?
I'm not paid to care.
You're just not paid.
Okay.
You're not paid at all.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. What is the temp there in the free... 1 minute. I'll let you know.
I don't know. Google it. Would you say there's a weakness for Death Guards better than average defense, better than average offensive potency via poisons.
My
Is being slow still their trade-off, their weakness? The problem is they're not slow.
my thermostat says 30 degrees. They're not that
That's
slow.
centigrade. He's asking for Fahrenheit, which is
What?
why I said to Google it.
Well,
Like, just Google 30 degrees
Okay,
centigrade and
they're
Fahrenheit.
not slow. Talk about because all the machines.
Yeah. Death Guard unfortunately aren't that slow, I've noticed. There's just, like, compared to, like, White Skies, for example, White Skies are just super fast. But, yeah, Death Guard are no slower than anyone else these days. I think Death Guard are just utterly broken. They're the army of and.
86 freedom units.
Oh, there we go.
But it's the humidity content is the
It's
thing.
like 70%
Like if you
today or
like,
something.
you go to you guys will know. If you go to a hot deserty environment and it's 40 degrees, it feels hot.
Oh, it's 60% today. The humidity's 60%.
But if you go to like 40 degrees in the tropics, you'll die because moisture conducts the things.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I was going to kick definitely not a gator for saying no, that's not that bad because he doesn't know it.
That's not that bad. You can't kick Geff.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Just, hey, listen, people's biggest problem is their biggest problem at the moment. Don't compare it to your own life. That's advice for life right there.
What?
If someone says this is my issue, don't belittle it. Don't belittle it. That's the thing. That's their biggest problem right now. And our biggest problem right now? Bit hot. Don't like it.
The problem is we're not tailored to heat.
Well, it's more the houses aren't. We as people, fine. If you go outside, it's not so bad. But it's just the flipping houses and the infrastructure isn't there.
Whereas, we're used to 14 degrees and rainy.
Yeah.
90% of the time in the UK, it's 14 degrees and raining.
Yeah. Well, that's mean the houses are built for cold winters and cold weather, and as a result, they just trap heat. Which is
Definitely not a gator is. 91 here with 63% humidity. AC is broken as well. You see, that's another
this
thing.
is someone just completely ignoring the advice I just said.
We
don't care.
We don't have AC.
So, yeah, I mean, he's saying he doesn't, but like we don't care. Like, who cares? Let us complain. British people complain. Let us complain. Perspective is key.
I think he's just joining in the conversation.
Yeah, but I don't like it, so I'm saying so.
And and AC. Like they have AC in America. We don't have AC here. There is no AC.
Oh, I didn't click anything. I've just clicked something. Is there a shortcut on your mouse? And people won't be able to have a clue what I've just done, but I've just I clicked something on the mouse and Element Games opened up and immediately ordered Winter's a whole new army.
I think that's the end of the stream.
I didn't click anything. No, it's there. It's there. Go back. It's on the other tab. There you go. We're still there.
Are we still here?
I don't know. Just accidentally.
Salt and salty. The fear in winter's eyes.
Yeah, it's hot. I'm annoyed.
We're still here. Welcome to the live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. No, that's the YouTube thing. Salting isn't salty. Just down with the heat.
Yeah.
I got... we're hamster sitting in a couple of weeks' time. Because Justina's going on holiday. And they have a hamster. And
you can sit a hamster?
Well, the hamster's going to come here.
Don't you just give them a bunch of, like... What do hamsters eat?
Well, they're going on holiday, so if they've got a hamster. So
Yeah.
what do you do with a hamster?
I don't know. Put some food out. Hope for the best. I don't know.
It's also the boy's first ever pet. So you can't just put some
Oh, it's the
food
child's hamster.
out,
Okay, look after the
hope
hamster.
for the best, and hope
Yeah.
the hamster isn't dead by the time you come back from holiday. So we're going to take the hamster here. We're going to look after the hamster. We're hamster
Didn't last
sitting.
time the hamster get out and you were like, my
edit
cat's
out.
going to eat it.
It did escape.
And then it turns out P90 he just didn't care.
The hamster was running around and the P90 was like...
That's not food. My food's cooked.
Yeah, my food doesn't walk that fast.
Yeah.
Anyway, talking about the hot, she sent a picture today of the hamster sleeping because it's so hot. You know, they normally crawl inside their little burrow and all that. They do hamster things, yeah? Instead, the hamster's head is in its burrow and that's it. Because it doesn't want to go in there. So it stuck its head in there and its limbs are flat out.
And it's dead.
Like that.
Well, you thought it was dead.
Sleeping hamster in the heat. Like an ostrich sticking its head in the sand. Its head in the burrow. I'm in my burrow. It was so cute. I want like 3 hamsters now. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
maybe P90, we could teach P90 to run a little bit, like let the hamsters escape and see if he, you know.
I feel like you'd find a way just to use them against me in a game or something. Like 3 hamsters, like just stick them on the table, random dice, off they go.
What, and sellotape like a las cannon sprue to one shoulder and
Yeah.
sellotape like
Yeah.
a power fist to the
So
other.
what's that? Is it, I don't know, Plagueburst Crawler? Off it goes.
And let them bump around into each other.
Yeah, I think that's animal cruelty though.
What? Sellotaping stuff to pets is not animal cruelty.
Depends what you're sellotaping, and also depends if they have fur and stuff.
Oh, right. If I sellotaped like a garden strimmer to P90, that would be a bit noisy. That would definitely not be appropriate.
I don't think he'd let you get close enough, but yeah.
However, if I sellotaped a stick of salami to his head, he would love that. He'd be following it.
I think
and
it's more the tape.
that.
Like, imagine trying to pull the tape off, and it's like, oh. You've like put tape on your like any like arm hair or something by accident and gone, ow.
Yeah, but I think that it wouldn't come off like our hair. It will come off like cat hair.
That's what I
which is
mean.
like everywhere, all the time, in the bed, in your mouth, in your eyes, in the sheets. There's cat hair everywhere. How much does a post-it note on the calendar cost to remind you? Says Paco the Paco Bender for $5.
I mean, he does twice now, so you definitely owe him a post-it note at least, or just stick it on your calendar.
Yeah, but now he's asking an interesting question because no one's asked beforehand so far. How much do the post-it notes cost? I've got some up there, Winter's Dice. I've got the top 5. I've got a few up there, but no. And now
I think the
Now
part
I
of the cost
set the
is
cost.
a refund to the man.
What?
Because he had to fight you to get you to do it.
he's already spent a $5, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's already spent more than a $5. Because there was the other one. I'm pretty sure. I'm scrolling up.
Look, we can edit
Hold
that.
on, I'm gonna scroll up, and I'm sorry if I open Pornhub. $10. He sent you $10. Put a bloody post-it note on for the
No,
boy.
but you don't understand because how much does it cost? This we're now establishing as part of the live stream how much it costs to put a post-it note up there.
I think it should be you pay them,
So, what?
and then you never have to, because you're not going to pay them.
But so I reckon if people want to put a post-it note on my wall, how much should we charge? Like $5,000, $500.
Free.
It's not. It can't be free.
Why can't it be free?
This talent doesn't come free. This talent needs feeding in Jaffa cakes and hobnobs, and occasionally pats on the head saying "good boy, good boy."
Let me.
That positive
here we go.
feedback. I really.
Here's some fun thing. I don't know if it's fun. Here's something that the team can do. If you guys have a quick look, how much is a pack of post-it notes? Like, let's say it's a pack of 100 post-it notes,
Where's my pen?
and then divide it. So if it's like £1 for a pack of 100 post-it notes, divide it by 100. That's 1p, right? So if we can work out how much is in a pack of post-it notes, that's the cost. So it might be like 0.02p per post-it note.
It needs, how much does it cost to put a post-it note on the wall? You guys decide. How much should it be? I reckon
12 pack of 100 post-it notes. So there is that. Okay, so there's 1,200 post-it notes for £2. 1,200 post-it notes
Are
for
we
£2.
saying £2?
No. That's
£2?
That's for 1,200.
£2. Have we got any advances on £2? Give me over the back and within the longs of £2. Have you seen the latest episode, the thing of season whatever of Clarkson's Farm?
No.
You've not seen
I've
Clarkson's
never
Farm?
seen Clarkson's Farm.
It's good TV, man.
I don't know how to do 200. It's 0.16
What?
pennies. So
Zero
it's 0.16p for one post-it note in that pack of 1,200 for £2.
Right.
So, yeah, what's the lowest denomination YouTube will let you send to Winters? That. That's how much a post-it note costs.
But if you want it to be a post-it note that I actually pay attention to, £5.
You burst my eardrum.
Did I?
I'm clapping away, yeah.
Nice. Ah, dear. Talkie Tuesday live stream. We talked about that. What was the question? I was going to ask you a question. Things. Cathay,
Oh,
Old
Cathay?
World.
yeah.
You've decided.
I
to
decided
collect
when I revealed them.
Cathay.
Cathay, yeah.
Why Cathay? Why not Sandra? Bullock.
She hasn't got miniatures, but yeah, very good. Yeah, so Cathay look cool. They got really cool stuff. They got a dragon that turns into a woman and back into a dragon again. They got a floating Chinese lantern with a bunch of guns on it, and they drop bombs. There's a giant terracotta
snipers in a
snipers in a giant lantern.
Yeah,
and the best part is the lanterns. Like, I've seen the rules now. I'd already ordered them, but I've seen the rules now, and they're like, you can bring 8 if you want. You can bring loads of lanterns if you want.
Right.
So like loads of stuff like that. I've bought one of everything basically.
Okay.
So yeah, and buying one of everything they released on pre-order day.
It's all new as well, right?
Yeah, it's all brand new because it's from Total War. Yeah.
Because some of the other stuff, like the Lizard Men and the this, that, and the other, some of them are old sculpts. Because famously, like when we first started playing, you were looking at the back saying, "Hey, look, this was printed in 1998 or something." But these are all new.
These are all 2024. I'm guessing it's going to say on it.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay.
but yeah, got them. They're going to show up if you buy one of everything, which is about £300, I think.
Yes.
You have a 2,000 point army, which
Okay.
I don't think is bad.
That's
No,
not.
obviously you have to paint them.
Isn't it set at 3,000 or 2,000?
The game's really like you can play it too, but really some of the missions they're like this is a 3K game.
Yeah.
So
like
it's fine,
Heresy.
but 2K is still like a full army. You're still good to go. And then you can bring get all the core stuff, and then you just add more of the bits you like.
Paco the Taco Bender, thank you for your $5 donation. I appreciate you. You're not an ignorant American. We're all ignorant here. Just some of us are American.
Ignorant.
Sticky death. End in the death must be shared. You have a lovely narrative to end in the death shared. You're paying for it. You'll get it.
And Jack's put another one saying, another post in right next to it.
The death.
Saying, don't forget to do this. Or don't forget.
Jackus Wood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, with the message, don't forget what Paco said. That's a second post-it note. You can't be cheap.
Okay, right.
You need two.
There's the first one. Put that on the wall.
I'm going to put it next to the narrative event. The end, record, end, and death.
Yeah, but I don't have to, like, it could be a short, right? A short.
I think you need to do a wrap-up of what happened. Like, this is what we did this weekend. And,
Thank you, Jacko Swoods. Thank you.
that said was spelt so wrong. It took me a second
Said.
to realise how wrong it was spelt.
I forgot how to spell
I was
said.
having a stroke.
No, because you were talking. I was trying to. I cannot multitask. Sometimes I swear, like breathing and eating at the same time is difficult. Like I literally have to stop. I was texting you the other day about a thing, and someone was talking, and I was like, I can't. And it's like, and then I forgot how to SAID. I can spell said, but while you were talking, my brain went nah, nah, mate. I cannot.
Next time you do a note, I'll be quiet.
What we talking about? Just got off work. Apparently, the end and the death narrative campaign. I'm filming it. What's up? Yes. What do you think of loyalist and traitor previews on Warcom for Horus Heresy? Says Scott Stapley. What do you think of the loyalist and the traitor things on Warcom, Sultan?
I didn't see any Blood Angels, so I didn't really care. I only have one army for Heresy in terms of Space Marines, so yeah, it's fine. Like it's a Warcom article. We need to see the thing, and even when I see the thing, it's a whole new rule set. So it's one of those things. Like when I see 40k rules, I'm like, okay, I know how that fits. I know how it works. But when I see Heresy rules at the moment, I'm like, I don't know enough about this. I don't know what's going on. I like that melters can one-shot vehicles now. One-shot with dreadnoughts.
Here's the thing. Today, I happen to be sat next to the man
Hello.
who's got 9 or 10 Space Marine armies.
If you count Blood Angels as 2 armies because one's for Heresy, then 10.
Yes.
I think.
Because you've got basically all the first founding loyal armies.
Except Dark Angels and Iron Hands.
But you've got Grey Knights.
Yeah.
And Custodes.
Custodes aren't Space Marines.
So you're and Death Watch. You're a Space Marine player.
Yeah, I think that's okay to say, yeah.
You play other armies.
I think I'm allowed to say I'm a Space Marine player.
But out of all the community...
Do I qualify as a Space Marine player? Who knows?
I say you qualify because out of all the other people in the chat and the heresy and things like that and the community, I don't know anyone who's got as many as First Founding Army, all Space Marines all the time, like except for me.
The Black Templars for me, they're an offshoot of the First Founding. So
they're Imperial Fists. So
they are Second Founding, but they already had a Templar Brotherhood. So they're Imperial Fists. Yeah.
Except for maybe say hi, Paul.
Paul hasn't got many Space Marine armies compared to that. He's got loads of armies, but his Space Marine armies aren't quite as.
I mean, he's got
he's got
every Orc clan. He's got
but
like
that's
the
not
Blood
Space
Moons
Marines.
and the things like that.
Were we talking specifically Space Marines,
so
or
maybe
we talking armies in general?
Maybe you even beat Say Hi Paul, because Say Hi Paul's got like 100 armies. He's got
a lot
AOS
of armies,
and Old World.
I think
and
I have
Heresy.
more specifically Space Marine armies than he does, but of course, when it comes to everything else, Paul wins. Everything else.
So this is Paul is winning Paul beats the crap out
Paul
of
beats
anyone.
Games Workshop. He's got more models than they do in their
Paul
factory.
is Games Workshop.
Paul
had to hire a shipping container.
Yeah.
To store all of his piles of grey in it.
You know, maybe he is beating me because I only saw what was in his house last time I went.
So
it might well be there's a shipping container full of just pure Space Marines.
His house was full,
so,
his loft was full, his thing like that. Now he's got a shipping container. He's chatting to him and he's like, I'm going to start a drop pod army for the... It's a bit, you need like 12 drop pods.
He's got a lot of heresy armies. Paul probably wins.
He said, he said, I've already got 12 drop pods. I'm like, where did you get them? He said, I bought them when they were released. What, in 6th? He went, yeah. The point being, you're a First Founding Space Marine kind of guy. So it would strike me as logically like heresy is aimed at you. You're a person who likes collecting the White Scars, likes collecting the Space Wolves, you like the Legionaries, and I tried damn hard to get you into Heresy 2.0, and we did play a couple of games off camera. But it didn't
Takes too long.
It didn't. What was it that didn't push you over the edge? Because I would have thought. I remember having a conversation with you saying this game is designed from the ground up for people like you who love Space Marines and want to play with Space Marines. It's all about the Space Marines.
I think the 40k models are better overall. Like, put a Primaris Intercessor next to a Tactical Marine. Prefer the Intercessor.
Okay.
Like the Space Wolves, and then now they're doing it properly, and you get like the Space Wolves refresh. Put Logan Grimnar next to anything, including Russ, in Heresy. Grimnar's cooler.
Okay.
He's a new model, so I know it's a bit different. I think that's better. So I prefer the models.
Okay.
I find them more interesting to paint. So there's a big part there, because I find when you're painting a Legion, they're all the same. Like the Blood Angels, when you look at them in the thing, they're all just red. In 40k, there's black, there's red, there's gold, there's all the purity seals and stuff that you don't get in Heresy. It's all more grimdark. I find there's more kit bash potential, so I prefer that in terms of pure hobby. And then in terms of the game,
so visually you prefer the 40k.
I prefer the aesthetic of 40k.
40k aesthetic Space Marines than 30k.
I do. I think the special units are far cooler in Heresy. So like the Dawnbreakers for the Blood Angels are the best. Some of the best Blood Angels models in existence because they're so cool.
Yeah.
And likewise, all the cool chapter-specific stuff, the Legion-specific stuff.
Though
if they did that in 40k, I'd be completely done with
Heresy
Heresy because I'd be like, cool, this is all in 40k.
Yeah.
Like if they, with the First Founding Codex supplements they're going to do.
Yeah.
If, say, when the Salamanders one comes out, they say, oh, here's some specialist Salamanders, Fire Drakes in aggressor armor. Yeah, Pyroclasts in Gravis or something. I'd be like, done. That's me. I'm done. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So that's my thing. It's the special units I like in Heresy.
Yeah.
But then when I played the game, it takes a really long time.
Yeah.
Like I like it when I run into combat. The combat's more or less resolved.
Yeah.
I played my Blood Angels multiple times at an event. Wrath of Constantine was there. We played it at WAB, and I do like deep strike my army in because they're Blood Angels, and they go running forward, and then I'd just spend the entire game locked in the same combat that I started the game in. I like to move my models about, I don't want to just sort of roll dice at them for a bit.
Okay.
I like to roll the dice, see what happens, something happens, and we weren't doing like sweeping advances or anything because every army I played against had stubborn, which is apparently a thing, so just nothing changed, nothing moved, so I found it very dull.
Yep, so there is so as far as a war game is concerned, Heresy 2.0 had a lot of setting things up, like you'd hurt a vehicle or hurt a flank in order to capitalize on that next turn. Or you'd shoot at a unit with a bunch of stuff and lose a bunch of miniatures, but not all the miniatures, so they're weakened. So then you can do the. So there's more of a accumulation effect in Heresy 2.0, and in 40k it's less of that. Normally, a unit can kill another unit, particularly if you point the right unit at the right thing, right? Wiping out entire units. 40k can be a lot more of a trading game. I'll put this here to kill your thing over there, knowing this thing over here is going to die because something is going to come around here and kill this thing. Now this thing dies, but this thing is now in the open, so the tank comes over there, the guys get out the tank, charge the thing, kill that thing, now that thing's dead. The 40k is a bit more...
I think there's a lot going for both.
So there's a lot killier than Heresy.
But then, like, I genuinely think Old World is my favourite Games Workshop game.
Okay.
So it's like, it's not that the wargaming side of it and the setting things up and planning strategies isn't what interests me. Because when I play Old World and I'm setting up a charge and I do the planning and I, counter charge with my Bretonians, or I've used a bit of terrain to my advantage and set up a shield wall behind it, like, I find that interesting, drawing people into my magic spells that I suddenly drop on them.
Yep.
Planning, which is essentially artillery. So I was like, and also, every army is completely different in Old World. So I was like, this is interesting, I enjoy it, and it's stupid. There's literally a rule called stupidity, and I still love that.
Yeah.
Like, there's loads of really dumb, fun rules. It's like a good mix of the two for me. It's a little bit harder to play, a little bit hard to head around, but it's fun. But yeah, I'm not saying 40k is perfect. I just think it's a bit of an easier game and things happen in it. Whereas in Heresy, I don't find things are happening as much. Though in terms of the lore, it's a way better lore.
So
the Heresy lore is far better than 40k lore, in my opinion. So in terms of the books and characters and like being able to field the Dominion Zephon, he's the guy. Being able to field Fafnir Ran, for example, that's way better. I don't care about any character in 40k as much as I care about those guys, and that's what draws me to it.
If the lore hadn't been so compelling and so hardcore, there wouldn't be a Heresy game at all. The fact that the lore was so good and so successful, and it starts and it ends, it's nice. So what would you need to see in Heresy 3.0 as a Space Marine person to get you playing Heresy 3.0, which is at its foundation a Space Marine game?
I want stuff to die when I fight it.
Yes.
I want combat. I don't mind standing still. This is just me, right? So it's fine. But when I'm doing a combat, I want it to go one way or the other. Like, I don't mind staying locked up.
Yeah.
Occasionally, because that's going to happen in the lore.
Yeah.
But if every game I'm staying locked up in combat, I don't think it's a fun game. I want sometimes where you do get that sweeping advance and you run a unit down, or you get pushed over yourself because you failed a morale check and something has happened narratively there.
Okay.
Something's gone wrong, or the ground's fallen out from under you both. I don't really care what happens, but I want less of just standing still.
Okay.
And I want it to be a more dynamic game. I don't like that vehicles, again, this is just me, and I understand why it's a mechanic in this game, and it's interesting. I don't like it my vehicle gets immobilised turn one and I don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
If I've bought this vehicle, I want it to at least move and do some stuff.
Yeah.
But, another hard part of me is like, I quite like the immobilisation because it's wargamey. It's fun. Like, that would happen. Like, tracks fall off. But in terms of just playing a fun game with toys, I'm like, let's let the vehicle move, please. So pinning tests and stuff. Sometimes when your model's just kind of standing there for multiple turns on a row. Yeah. Old World has the same problem. If you roll fail stupidity checks over and over again, your big expensive model does nothing. It just walks forward. Yeah. So, yeah. It's stuff like that. I want more movement, more dynamism. I want more, like, if something does go horribly wrong for you, which I'm all for things going horribly wrong, sometimes there's tiny little ways you can get out of it. Mm-hmm. Tiny little ways to get out of it. So, like, okay, I'm pinned, but because I've planned this, I can do a morale check and get out. Yeah. That's what the Vexillas were for, right? So you didn't fall off the table, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I just like more ways to not be doing nothing. Okay, so
testing Discord access member for 14 months. Thank you for your member for 14 months.
I thought someone was saying they were testing Discord access.
So you want... So some of the real janks that can happen, which are different from 40k. So one of the things that can happen is you can be locked up for a very, very long time.
That's the main one.
So you want that gone.
Yeah.
And
not gone, just less common for me. It's for me, every game I've ever played, I've been locked up and stood still. Okay. And I find
so an ability to either fall back or
an ability
and charge, to either overrun
fall back and charge would be amazing. Like if you have a sergeant and you give him a special thing.
Fall back and charging is really rare in 40k as well.
I don't think it is that rare. There's stratagems in almost every army. A lot of armies, it's their entire
so it's
army
not
rule.
really rare, but there are only a couple of ways. So like in Space Marine, you need a lieutenant, or it's like tactical doctrine. There might be a couple of other things as well. It doesn't matter. It's not an easy thing to come by.
But you can still just fall back.
You can
like
still
in Heresy, you can't even just step away from combat and let someone else take. That's the thing. Even if it's not fall back and charge, it's just step away.
Yeah.
Like even if you have to pass a leadership test or something, break contact.
Yeah.
Because in real life war, people, I'm talking. It's combat now. We're fighting, so we're talking shield walls. So Saxons or Spartans or whatever, they'll step back. They can break contact. It's a hard maneuver, so maybe that's why you need a leadership test. They'll break contact, and then someone else can do a charge. You know, that's all I want about it. I just don't want my guys stuck there all game. I want the ability to step back and go either far enough away that I can consolidate my forces that's left and retry something else, charge elsewhere, or let someone else in to do the job, or just get a gun line to do it. You know, step back and let my gun shoot them.
And you don't want to be pinned.
That's far less of an issue.
To get out of pinning. So what I'm saying is that there's some hard... So coming from 40k, which doesn't have these things. In 40k, you don't fall back off of the table. In 40k, you aren't locked up for half a game. In 40k, there is no pinning test where units stay still. There might be like
pinning,
suppressed.
I don't mind so much. It's just an example. It's the combat thing. If I could fall back, even if it's not just the charge again, I'd be happy.
The point I'm thinking about here is, is there a danger of making Heresy too close to 40k? And then if Heresy is too close to 40k, is that a good or bad thing? Maybe it's a good thing, because then people who come from 40k to Heresy will find it less jarring and they'll get into Heresy. Or maybe they do need to be two separate things, so people who don't like 40k can play Heresy, and people who don't like Heresy can play 40k.
I still think all the things like stunned, pinned and stuff, and falling off table, whatever, keep them.
They're in there, aren't they?
Yes,
they've showed you all the status effects.
That's all. The 40k doesn't have any of that. Do it. And then with vehicles, like keep immobilizing them. That's fine. It's just make it. Make vehicle. I know they're trying to. Make vehicles a bit tougher. That kind of thing. Like help them out a little bit more. I want more flexibility with my movement.
Yep.
So the big one is that fallback.
Okay.
And just being able to get out of combat when it's locked up. Because my army is Blood Angels. They're +1 to wound on the charge. You get your charge in. You're +1 to wound. It's one of the strongest combat armies in the game. +1 to wound on the charge. They go in. They still don't kill what they hit. And then they can't fall back and do anything about it. So that's the issue for me. And then, everything else, like that's war game. It's fine. And I just think vehicles need to be a little bit stronger, because when a single las cannon can pen and blow up a Spartan, but it can't deal with the dreadnought in 2.0, that's an issue. Maybe they're fixing that. Maybe they've gone too far the other way. Yeah,
they said they're definitely going to be fixing it. So in 1.0, you could one-shot a dreadnought with a melter, for example, because in 1.0, dreadnoughts and skimmers and they were still vehicles, so they still had that armor pen thing, like AP1, AP2 for explosions, so you could still one-shot them. 2.0, they went to wounds, so a melter does a wound, a las cannon does a wound. 3.0, from the leaks and from the things they put on Warcon, they've talked about melter weaponry doing like 3 damage. And then when you get within a certain range, it can double or add, or just like it does in 40k, add.
Yeah.
So, and in one of the articles, they said you can get 6 damage on a Contemptor, which can one-shot a Contemptor. So I'm thinking to myself...
See, for me, that's almost too far. I'd be happy with the 3 damage base.
That's the 6 wounds with a 5 invulnerable save, 6 damage, that's one-shot in.
One melter gun in a squad of 10 of them or something. So it's almost too far the other way.
You could one-shot, and then 2.0 you can't one-shot, and then 3.0 it sounds like you can one-shot dreadnoughts again. But you would need to be the right weapon at a certain range, which is what you always used to be like anyway.
Well, you need to be an inch away with a melter to do that.
Problem with it. It just comes down, do you want it to go one way, or do you want it to go to another? Which game system do you want to play with? And in 1.0 it was one way, and in 3.0 it's going to be the same, but different rules.
Yeah.
And in 2.0 it wasn't.
Yeah.
So
see, I feel like it depends on the weapon, right? Like, I feel like a las cannon should be able to, let's say, take a quarter of the wounds off of a Spartan. in one shot. That's the max it could do. Take off a quarter of the wounds. Or something like that, even with a good shot.
Yeah.
Something like a Nova cannon on a starship should be able to one-shot anything it touches. So I think it should scale with the weapon. So I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's a way to do it, but I'm not thinking in depth right now. But I don't want a regular melter gun to be able to necessarily one-shot a Contemptor Dreadnought. Like, halve its wounds, absolutely. If you've got a multi-melter, which is the bigger version, sure, one-shot thing. If you've got a melter blast gun on the top of a Kratos, it should kill it twice. You know, I just think it should depend on the gun.
Here's
and
the
question. Size of it.
Here's the thing, though. Do you want your rules to reflect the narrative and, let's say, the real world, or do you want your rules to be designed around a game system? Because it can be one or the other. So, for example, in the real world, a missile launcher, there are many weapons that can take out a Rhino, an APC, with one.
Like a little Rhino could be, but like you can't take out a Spartan with a missile launcher, not in one shot.
So
in the lore, like they'll be able to immobilize it, but they can't kill it. So that's what I'm saying. It's like if they're shooting it with a las cannon, like you see in the lore, like someone fires a las cannon at a Spartan, the max damage it will do is the Spartan will slew around and be like, whoa, and it will be an issue. If they're hitting it with 4 or 5 las cannons repeatedly, yes, it's gone. Yeah. That's the lore. That's how they write it. So all I'm saying is, at that scale, I think you could make that into a game rule by saying it's going to do, like, you know, put with 4 damage. It's done. It's like, say a Spartan has 28 wounds. It does 5 damage or something. And then you've got the big guns that could absolutely one-shot.
And then there are many guns in the lore that can one-shot a Kratos, a Spartan, a Land Raider. Like if you get hit by
a last strike, you're done.
Well, a laser rapier destroyer, or a magna
or the
melter
thing on the Typhon
cannon, or the thing on the Typhon, the neutron beam
that
laser.
One, that can one shot a Spartan.
You know,
that's all I'm saying. That's why damage is a thing.
So I like it when the rules are written with the narrative in mind.
Yeah,
and particularly when it comes to Heresy, because Heresy, the game system, as you said, was invented, came out of the books because the books were good. It wasn't like, so 40k is like, hey, let's make a game, and out of the game we've got Gotrek and Felix, and we've got Eisenhorn, we've got books.
Yeah.
Heresy was the other way around. They wrote some books, and out of the books it was like, oh, this is really, do you want to play this game? Do you want to play with Soul Targets? Do you want to play with... Out came... So Heresy, I particularly like it when the rules are written with the narrative in mind. So what I'm saying is there should definitely be some weaponry that can one-shot some vehicles.
Agree. But then you pay the points for that weaponry because it's huge.
If we lose that in the new edition, I think then that's the beginning of the Warhammer 40k slope. So in the Warhammer 40k slope, it's very rare for some guns to one-shot big tanks. There's many... You can do like the gun on the Devilfish, or even like the gun on the Repulsor, which does D6 plus 6. There's many guns that do 10 damage, 12 damage, but one shot a Land Raider at 16 wounds, or one shot, that's really
not going to happen.
That's really rare.
But yeah, that's what we're saying. So the neutron beamer has the ability to one shot a Spartan. However, one las cannon does not. A squad of 5 las cannons could. Like, that's all I'm saying. It's the
las cannon can't one shot a Rhino in 40k, but a las cannon should easily be able to one shot
a Rhino agree.
In the lore.
Agree, and that's
or
what
a Chimera,
points and
or
wounds
a
are
thing.
for, or hull points are for, right?
So when you start, So it comes down to what rules do you want to create? Do you want to, if you were writing the rules, would you want to have a rule system in place where if your player shoots a las cannon at a Chimera or a Rhino, it has a chance to kill it in 1? It's a slim chance, but it has a chance to kill it in 1. Or do you want to remove that? In 40k, they remove those extremes. So those really extreme things that couldn't happen, that happened once, rarely, they took away. And in Heresy, we need to see whether those extremes are still in there.
Yeah, and you can absolutely have both. Like you just change stats that a las cannon can one shot a Chimera or a thing, but it can't one shot a Spartan. You change the stats of one of those things, so it can't do it.
Paco the Taco Bender, thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. $2 super chat. Thank you. A Shadow Sword should one-shot a Titan. Thoughts? My answer to that is no.
They use batteries of them.
Yeah, squadrons. Shadow Swords first in the lore and in the stuff. They're
3 or 4
minimum of 3.
Yeah.
So one of them like shoots the shields down, and then gets blown up. The other one shoots it in the front to take on the front and then gets blown up. And then the third one shoots it in the bum and kills it.
I mean, yeah, gameplay-wise, like a smaller Titan could be one-shotted. Like a little baby Scout Titan could be, 2 of them.
A Shadow Sword should be able to one-shot a Knight. Or a Knight
absolutely.
Porphyrin or things like that. But a Warhound Titan?
2 of them.
2
of them could do it. Take shields. So I think with the Warhound, it'd be take the Void Shields down, kill it.
Yeah.
With a Warlord, you're talking 6 of them. Yeah.
You wouldn't want to deploy. Well,
narratively,
yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're putting super heavy tanks against Warlord Titans, you're already losing.
It's a different game. Yeah.
You need Leviathan. You need, what are they called? Is it the Leviathan land fortresses and things? I think it's Leviathan.
Leviathans aren't a model.
Yeah, I know, but
you're saying they should be a model, right? Yeah.
In Imperialis, back in when they had Adaptus Titanicus, they had models.
The Leviathan command platforms. Yeah.
There's one in Gaunt's Ghost as well, which is 4 Leviathans strapped together, and it's the Mons gated plateau thing. When he returns, only in death. It's the one after he comes back from Geryon. It's got 4 Leviathans.
Yeah.
Red Richmond, you were right. What?
Oh, he said a Reaver maybe. Yeah, Warhound sure, a Reaver maybe is what Red Richmond said to that one-shotting.
I don't think a Shadow Sword will not one-shot a Titan. Any Titan. The first one shot from a Shadow Sword might
take down the Void
Shields. And I say it's probably going to overload and take down the Void Shields in one hit.
Siege of Terror has it happen fairly regularly. I remember a scene at some point where you've got an entire thing. It's just mentioned in passing because of how little they do. Yeah, so they roll up like 10 Shadow Swords to the top of a ridgeline.
Yeah.
I think it might be in Mortis, and they start unloading on some of the Titans that are approaching, and they kill like one.
Yeah.
And then they get blown up by a single like blast from a Imperator.
Exactly.
So
if the shields are already down, it might be able to one shot as well. You got to remember that Shadow Sword, Banehammer, all these tanks. What they've done is they are Titan weaponry from the arms, and they've put them on a tank on a track platform. That's why Shadow Swords and Banehammers and all those exist.
But a Bellicosa Volcano Cannon is better than a Shadow Swords Volcano Cannon because it's got much more power to draw on.
They can't. It's so big they can't stick it on a tank.
No, this got almost like a baby. It's almost like the Volcano Cannon that's on a Chaos Knight is on a Shadow Sword as opposed to
the Volcano Cannon that fits on a Warhound you can stick on a Shadow Sword. The Volcano Cannon that sits on a Reaver you can't mount on a Shadow Sword. So and then you have to ask your question. The question is, can a Shadow Sword one-shot a Titan? The question is, can a Titan with a Volcano Cannon one-shot another Titan? And the answer to that is, if the Titan shields are down,
which is what the Apocalypse launchers are for.
Sometimes.
That's why they have all the
sometimes.
That's why there's a load of rapid fire systems on the top of a Warlord. Like those missiles, they fire. Even in the rules, you can look at the 40k rules on in Legends or whatever, or Imperial Armor. They fire thousands of shots to ripple down the Void Shields to overload them, and then the Volcano Cannon does the coup de grace at the end.
Given the recent animation, a Warlord Titan should be able to pick a table quarter, and all models in that quarter should be immediately removed. I completely agree with you, Liam T.
Just turn it into a crater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's what is it? The Lupercal Must Die, or whatever that one is. Kill the Warmaster, that anime. Yeah. They used to, when they were first released, way back, if you brought a late Volcano Cannons, they had a rule called, I think it was called World Burner, which is you could point at an item of terrain and roll a dice, and I think it was on a 3-up. That item of terrain got picked up, and all the models on it got picked up, and that was its thing. You could shoot at normal stuff if you wanted to,
or you could just destroy buildings.
But it was the owner was like, oh, okay, so that ruin is gone.
The Legions Imperialis does bits like that with Demolisher. You make buildings into craters.
Yeah, it's like, okay, they're gone. So I quite like that. World Burner. And there's still
the Death Strike where I never saw it, but I heard about it, where like you'd fire a death strike and they technically had unlimited range in 40k. So if it's scattered and misfired, the GW score, because if you're in a Games Workshop store, they'd call the nearest store that it's scattered in the direction of and say, yeah, there's a death strike missile inbound for one of your tables.
I haven't heard that one before.
Yeah, so apparently a few stores used to do that when they used to have games inside. Because they had unlimited range, it would fire off, scatter off the table. If it wasn't hitting another table and thing, they'd phone the next store over and say, there's a death strike missile coming in.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were we talking about? Heresy. Yes. So, do you want Heresy 3.0 just to be more like 40k then?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying I want to be able to move my models.
Okay.
That's all. That's my only complaint. I want to be able to move my models, and I also want my vehicles to last a bit longer.
Okay.
Unless they're being shot at by a bellicose or volcano cannon, in which case, kill. All I'm saying is, this is. I think I've made it fairly clear. A las cannon can't one-shot a Spartan. That's not allowed. 5 las cannons can one-shot a Spartan.
Do you feel like vehicles didn't last well in Heresy 2.0?
Yeah.
Because you had 40k to compare it to?
No, I just think they're paper. I have Dawnbreakers with a bunch of melter bombs, right? This is a lot of melter bombs, I understand that. But I got 10 guys with melter bombs.
Yeah.
They walk into a Shadow Sword, they penned it 6 times out of 10.
Yeah. But
so it's
if
gone.
there was
if they'd gone into
10 elite assault Dawnbreakers in the lore with melter bombs,
of course
assaulting any vehicle, including Mastodon, dead vehicle in the lore.
I'm saying that's allowed.
What they're supposed to do.
No, I agree. I'm just saying one of them did it.
Right.
It's not all 10 of them doing it. One of them got a pen and could do it. It just so happened I got more than that.
One penetrating
hit and it's dead.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the issue. It shouldn't be one of them able to do that. It's the combined weight of melter charges being stuck on. Then when against dreadnoughts, I couldn't kill him with the same weapon.
So what's wrong with a melter bomb one shot in a vehicle?
It's against the Spartan. It shouldn't do that. Like I think it should be it's almost like a
melter bomb.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Like it might blow a door out, but it's not stop the vehicle. If you get a super lucky shot and stick it on the engine, sure, but I feel that's where you build in the rules a cumulative thing.
But
so if you get a pen on 1,
okay,
that's a bad thing. You get a pen on 3 or more, now it's blown up. Like there needs to be in the old 2.0. What I would personally have rather had is a cumulative mechanic. So you get a pen with a las cannon, that could blow up a tank and it's done. You roll a 6 and it's gone because of the AP and everything on it. Instead, it should be okay. I've rolled a 6. It's not gone. It's just damaged. Oh, but there's another 4 guys in the squad. They got pens too.
Yeah.
Now it's dead because and maybe the table should take into account how many pens it's taken. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a perfect solution. I'm just saying there should be different ways. It shouldn't be one las cannon kills one of the biggest tanks in the game. One melter bomb kills one of the biggest tanks. It should be if you've got 5 melter bombs, they've all gone off at once and they've all done horrible damage. Yes, it's dead. And I think there's a way with the rules they have in 2.0 right now where you could have done that.
Okay.
Rather than just having a 400-point tank with a void shield just gone, flare shield just gone.
So to summarise,
vehicles of paper.
There was. We could chart it. We could chart it on an XY axis.
Movement vehicle.
The damage versus destruction on vehicles was too high. Damage versus instant destruction on vehicles was too high. So damage on vehicles over time can be a thing, but instant damage on destructions was too high, and you'd like that toned down a bit. So let's say, for example, let's throw some figures at it. Like in Heresy 2.0, 20% of the time you could one-shot a vehicle. You'd like that to be along the realms of 5% of the time, or 10% lower. Higher.
Yeah, I mean, I was finding that my vehicles were blowing up pretty regularly. So, like, I'd like it instead of 50% of the time, maybe 10%.
Okay.
But, Paco the Taco's got a good idea. It said each consecutive pen adds to the explosion chart. So maybe you make an explosion, an 8 or a 9. So the first time you pen, you can't blow it up. But then if you've got 2 pens and say you add a dice, add 1 to that. Every pen adds 1 to that dice roll. Yeah. Maybe that would be a way to do it. I quite like it. So, yeah.
I don't think Spartans can be melter bombed in one go in 2.0, can they? Yes, they can. So strength 8, armor bane. So you roll 2 dice and add it together. So if you rolled,
and then the AP.
If you rolled 7, which is the average, that would be a strength of 15, which will exceed the strength of the armor of 14. And then AP 1 on a 5, it will blow it up.
And I think a melter bomb should be able to penetrate that easy. I just don't think the penetrating hit should instantly mean an explosion. That's all I'm saying.
Jamie has a question. Do you think that the end of the Horus Heresy story arc means the game will fizzle out in a couple of years?
No. 40k hasn't done anything in about 6 years and it's still going strong.
Yep.
Yeah. 40k had a good chance to do something cool and they haven't, and they're still going really well.
I think something big is coming with the King in Yellow. We talked about it before.
I know, but they won't let Dan Abnett release that, and he's had it written for like 4 years. So.
They are, though. There's something going to be tied in with the King in Yellow, and there's something coming. I reckon the Biggie is coming back. He's coming back from outer space. There's something, maybe not the Biggie, but something big is they're going to move the timeline for.
I've heard that.
You know, like Horus Heresy, 18 years of writing, we got to the end. And it's a big bookend at one end. I think they're going to do another big thing at the other end. And I think it starts with...
And they tie together.
Well, I think it starts with the Yellow King and the culmination of whatever's going on there. And I think some story arc is coming in. And they've seen how much money the Black Library made them. So they came up with an idea, hey, let's write some books about this historical event. And they took it really seriously. One of the reasons why it was very popular is because they took it like a history. There
was not much tongue-in-cheek
about
Dan
Abnett and all the guys have spoken as well. They felt like they were writing a historical drama. So they gave it the gravitas it deserved. And out of that, how much money has that made them? It inspired a whole new game system. And here we are.
You've seen the price of the Forge World units.
There we go.
So.
And so I think they've seen that and go, whoa, 1 minute. Let's do something at the other bookend. At the end times, let's do something now, because the Primarchs are coming back. The good guy so bad guy Primarchs always
like
been around.
People buy Primarchs.
But good guys can't be. We've got the Caliban and Wormwood. What is it? The guy thing.
I don't know, because they haven't got a cohesive lore like they do in Heresy.
No.
I don't know any of it.
Chaos Demon dude. What's his name?
Vashtor.
Vashtor. So you've got Vashtor and his thing going on with the Dark Omens book as well. Sure. So you've got Chaos, so the galaxy is now ripped in two, and Chaos have got their own MacGuffins and doing their own thing. Mm-hmm. And then the Imperiums have got their own, all the Primarchs are coming back, and the Lion's turning up soon, and
2 of them, yeah.
And Russ is going to be here. So there's story arcs coming to something. And then we're gonna get a series of books. We're gonna get an ongoing, like Dawn of Fire is trying to bring it all together. Dawn of Fire series is just finished. I got about 3 books in and I gave up.
That's my issue. I just read the first one. I was like, it's fine.
I thought the first one was good with the Belisarius call reveal. That was really nice.
I thought it was decent, but I was like, I don't need to go any further than this. I was happy with that.
And I hear that some good ones, and I hear there were some bad ones, and I think I gave up on Gate of Bones.
The Siege of Terror never... Heresy in general, sure, but Siege of Terror never dipped too far.
There was some...
Apart from one.
This is the thing in Siege of Terror. Some people say, oh, that one was bad, or that one wasn't very good. The thing about Siege of Terror is the ones that aren't very good are good in any other series ever. It's just that the good ones are amazing. Like Warhawk's amazing, Saturnine's amazing, The End of Death's amazing. Pick your poison, which one is amazing. But there are moments in the Siege of Terror where you're like, this is amazing. Cambadius' last stand on Gorgon Bar.
It might be some of the best 40k.
Is amazing.
Best Warhammer writing ever. Might be the best.
The End and the Death I've done. There's so many layers to that. I think it's one of the best books I've read. Not 40k. Period. It's one of the best books I've read. It's up there with some really, really...
Echoes of Eternity is another really good one, especially if you're a Blood Angels fan.
Echoes of Eternity.
Just learning about the Revenant Legion and stuff was always
fantastic.
Fun. Yeah, and Amit. Because ADB did such a good job creating Amit as a character.
Yep.
That I thought he'd been in the entire siege. Like, I genuinely had forgotten. I'd listened through to everything. So basically, I'd listened to Echoes of Eternity, listened to the other books, then I listened through them all again for like the 3rd time or whatever in a row, and I was like, oh, Amit wasn't in any of the books except this one. He was in End of the Death a lot because he was such a good character that Dan Abnett went, I'm keeping him. So carried on. I knew Zephon had been in quite a few. But even then, Zephon's main book is Echoes of Eternity. He's kind of mentioned in Saturnine.
And also Master of Mankind.
Yeah, but that's not in Siege of Terror.
Oh yeah.
I'm just
sorry,
saying.
Yeah.
Like,
In Siege of Terror.
I don't know if
yeah,
Amit's mentioned outside of Siege of Terror, but I'm not
No,
convinced
well,
he is.
I think
so.
Siege of Terror and Echoes, and I think that's it.
Yeah, but he's such a strong character and so well written. I thought he'd been in there the whole time.
Well, he's one.
Like Fafnir Ran was.
It's the two halves of the coin of the Blood Angels. There's two sides to them, and Amit is the flesh. Is the fury side. Is the
and Zephon's the sorrow. It's the different thing. Or you can even look at Ascalon, who was like the bright, one of the brighter ones.
Amit and Ascalon after Zephon got sent back to Terra to join the Crusader host. But that's why, because Custodes, I think it's in Fear to Tread. I forget what book it is, but some Custodes calls up Sanguinius on it and says, "Oh, 1 minute, are you putting up with this shit from that guy over there?" And he said, "That's as equal part of my nature as Ascalon. I need to listen to both of them."
Yeah.
That comes from me. That comes from my gene seed.
Yeah.
Does two things. One, it slaps that guy down into place. And two, establishes just how cool Sanguinius is. Because Sanguinius is cool.
Yeah.
It comes across as cool all the time.
I think they wrote him so well in that he's really good at most things he does, but he's not infallible by any stretch.
Yeah.
Because there was a really easy chance of Sanguinius making him a Mary Sue and killing him. But he's not. He's got a lot going on that makes him flawed, and that's the whole thing of the Blood Angels.
Well,
flawed,
in Fear to Tread, he did. It was only because of the prior there, right? In Fear to Tread, he did lose his shizzle.
He was lost his cool,
gone, and it wasn't until the prior's aura that kept him safe, and then but that's a whole other thing.
I love he gets so angry that Angron isn't angry anymore. in Echoes, he gets so angry that Angron goes,
"Oh,
this guy's really mad."
Yeah.
And then Angron gets his flipping eyes pulled out from the back of his head. But it's just, I love that he just gets, it's crazy. It's good writing when you can go to that extremes.
Thomas Sealand, welcome to the 13th Tier 3. GG's, Thomas. Thanks, Jackus Woods, from shouting out the GG's already. Come join us in the Discord, Thomas. You get an extra battle report every single Winter's Wednesday. Thanks for becoming a Tier 3 channel member. Heresy. I think that there's always going to be new people coming to the hobby. There's always going to be new people discovering the hobby, and the Horus Heresy series is always going to be there. I think there's a couple of things that Games Workshop need to do. One is, if you listen to the Horus Heresy on Audible, as I've been doing for the first time ever, rather than reading it, when Heresy was released, there were some stories that came out, and then you read the books, then there were some short stories. And you read the books, some short stories. And then they bundled them together in an anthology. The Kindle just follows the books, which are all bundled together as anthologies. So you hit these anthologies, and it's weird. Some of them tell you stuff before it's happened, and some of them tell you stuff after it's happened. So no spoilers for anyone out there. But there's a very popular character called Garviel Loken, and something happens to him earlier on, and it's all right. He gets better, but he gets introduced back to the series before the books and the short stories tell you how he gets introduced back to the series.
Yeah, because I never saw that, because I never saw the short stories, because I was reading the anthologies. So
so the short stories.
And he's like, yeah, and I did this. I was like, did you?
So in
when did you see that?
In the Garrow anthology is Garviel Loken's Cerberus arc.
Yeah, and that's when I sort of heard about it afterwards, because I think I got to Vengeful Spirit, and it was like, oh, he's doing this. I was like, oh, sick, he's all right. And then it was like, yeah, I did this. I was like, did you? All right, fair enough.
So how annoying is that? So one of the things Games Workshop could do, which they probably never will, but
put it in order,
is go back, and particularly these anthologies, they can take them, they can sell the Kindle series in chunks, in anthologies, and with the books, the short stories in the right order as you go, for people who want to go all the way through.
They'd also never do this. You could also just remove a lot of the chaff and have like a direct reading request.
That's the second thing I was going to say. One, on Kindle and also on the Black Library store where you can go and buy the books, that everything should be in there in the right order now. The book series and Kindle series, and a way to do it. And two, there should be a skip to the end mode.
Yeah, you don't need to read Battle for the Abyss.
No, there should be get to the Siege in 20 books, say, and they're like, here's the first 4 up to Flight of the Eisenstein.
His Mechanicus, his Thousand Suns, Prospero Burns, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, here's how you get to the end. If you want to know more, but they're never going to do that either, because that'll encourage people to do that run rather than do all of the Horus Heresy.
If they made those 20 books, let's call it, like the super sexy leather-bound pack you can buy for 300 quid or something stupid.
They could do
They'd
that.
sell a hell of a lot.
They would sell a hell of a lot, and they could do that way.
If they did it that way, said, right, here's the short route to the Siege. It doesn't include Siege of Terra, but short route to Siege of Terra. Yeah. And then they can do a Siege of Terra bound
Do you know what
series.
they could also do to really sell that is they do the short route to the Siege of Terra, which is like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, and each of them have got these books and leather banner. They get or ask Dan Abner, ADB, Chris Wright, someone like that to do some joiner bits. So in between Mechanicum,
you could create a character who's a historian, and they are filling the gaps.
There you go. So, and it's only
do a forward by
it's
that
only
historian.
prose. Like here's a forward and an afterward, and it's only.
It could be Arkan Land. Arkan Land could tell the story because he's a techno-archaeologist, and he could do the forward. So this is a time I really didn't like, and because he's a snarky bastard, and then he could fill the gaps.
Is it Ignis Karkasky?
Karkasy, he's the poet.
He's the poet. Who's the other one? Cinderman. It
should be Cinderman. Yes, because he's an Inquisitor. Yeah,
and he's
spoilers for War of the Beast.
All the way Cinderman. So
Cinderman's a better choice.
Cinderman does afterwards or forward words, and they only have to be a couple of pages. And it bring you after this dramatic incident on Prospero.
Yeah.
Then there was the Night Lords doing Thramas, and they did this and that and the other with the Dark Angels.
Yeah, you're forward.
And at the culmination of that was this. But this story will not go that way. Instead, we will turn our eye to Calth.
Yeah, and they could even advertise those books by saying, the records are currently sealed. However, if you have this clearance, you can find them, or whatever. If they want, they could just allude to the fact that books exist.
Dude, I'll be all over that.
Yeah.
So you could buy the entire heresy all the way through in order, which you can't do now, or you could buy a shortcut version of the heresy with forward afterwards.
Yeah,
that would be fantastic.
Because you could have the start because it's a special edition. You could have a sealed letter at the front, and it's like one of those imperial style things with a purity seal stamped on it, and it's written in Cinderman's hand.
These are limited runs, and when you get them, you get a certificate with them saying 1 of 1,000 or whatever. Like the Emperor of Mankind, that was 200 odd of 1,000. Yeah. But these all other ones were less than 100 sold.
Yeah, I've got a Blood Angels one at home. I've got 2. I've got an Ultramarines one from the 5th edition Codex, because that was my ideal of a Space Marine, where you're just standing around boltering somebody to death.
Nice.
And then the Blood Angels one, where they've got the red banner with this, the fighting the Slaneshi demons, and the sky's gone purple, and he's got his sword in the air, it's gone red.
Nice.
I'm like, that's cool.
Nice.
There's a Blood Angels similar edition Codex, so got those 2 in flames.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's cool. We've just made GW £1 million.
Games Workshop definitely watch this TV show and TV show it's one of the things I said, I know they watch because I said, hey, one of the things they need to do to make millions and millions and millions is a super heavy tank plastic for Space Marines, and that's coming with Heresy 3.0. And we'll see how many different gun options come on it, particularly when Legends use Legends, and we'll be buying it for their 40k collections.
My only concern is I'm not yet convinced that we'll get Legends rules, but we'll see. Like when the Saturnine Dreadnought comes out, if it gets Legend rules, I'll pick one of those up. I'm not interested in anything else in the box, but the Saturnine Dreadnought's pretty cool. It
just makes sense. They'll sell more. But yeah, the Heresy right now it's a bit. If you were starting, it's like, where do you start?
Impenetrable.
And unfortunately, the answer is at the beginning. And then because a lot of the books, the books now you can't buy from the Black Library. You can only get the books, some of the books, in Kindle form. So they don't even sell paper copies of.
Yeah. So I think they just got series we've mentioned about limited edition series, not limited edition, sorry, just like luxury series.
Yeah.
And it's 300 or 400 quid.
Yeah.
Like it could be stupid money because you only need to buy it once. Yeah. It's like you can buy these and that we just make them.
Yeah.
And this is what we make. This is what we sell physically. If you want the other books, eBay or Kindle. They exist Audible. So yeah, go do all that. But they just go, this is what you get. If you want to buy the Horus Heresy as we see it, there's this, and we've also done a smaller version, which is the 10-part series of the Siege of Terror. 8,
Yeah,
9, 10, 11,
I think it's
11
like
part
10
series?
with the
Yeah.
short stories in it. It's about 10. Yeah.
Oh, short stories might make it longer.
No, because
you've got
the books are 7, and then you've got the Fury of Magnus, Sons of the Solinar, Era of Ruin, and there's one more.
So yeah, 10 of the main books.
Is it 10 of the main books?
10 main books, because you've got
The end of the you count the end of
Solar
the Death
War.
is 3.
yeah, it's 3 books though.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
3 volumes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's 10 main books, and I think 3 and small short stories. Sons of Selenar.
There's an Imperial Fisty one. Oh, that is Sons of Selenar. Never mind.
No,
Yeah,
they're
'cause it's got a fist.
Shattered Legion going to
Okay.
Luna. Because all Astartes are the sons of the Selenar, gene cults. You know, Andromeda 17, all that stuff from Master of Mankind, and later in the Siege of Terror.
Apparently there might be 14. Maybe there's 4
14?
short stories. I never read any of the short stories. So
How many? Because you didn't. The Magnus one is good.
they weren't in the main books. If they weren't
Okay.
important enough to go in the main books, I wasn't reading them. And also didn't know they existed.
I'm not sure if they weren't. I'm not sure that's how they came about. I'm thinking like the main books came about because you were like, hey, can you write this one? Can you write this one? Can you write the main books came about that way, right? And I think the side stories came about because the authors really liked writing about these characters. And here's so you've got the whole you've got the whole of the Horus Heresy, and then they're doing the siege, and you're a writer, and you're like, well, what about Sharokin? What about this story that I was setting up there? What about this story setting up there? And I'm sure the editor turned around and said, well, you can finish that off and we'll do it as an anthology and we'll stick it in. I'm sure that's how they came around that way.
It's not in the main, it's not in the main flow, so I'm not interested.
It's not in the main flow, but then the fragments all the way through the Siege of Terror.
Yeah, but they're in the book, so I don't mind.
In the main flow.
Yeah, but if it's in the book, I'm going to read it.
But the other ones...
It's like I've already got these 10 books to read. I'm not going to add in these short stories that they couldn't be bothered to put in the main book. So I'm just not going to read them.
The fragments are in the main flow, and Sons of Selenar are in the main flow. I think it's just, yeah. I think it just adds. I like Sons of Selenar.
Yeah, I also don't like spending money on a tiny book.
Okay. But no, that's the other thing. Like the novellas, they're not tiny. They're half the size of it's like 6 hours long on Audible, Sons of Selenar. And I forget how long the Magnus one is. It's about 5 hours long.
Still
so they're about
£8 credit though.
They're like £half books. Half size books is Kindles. Yeah, Kindle credits. Yeah.
Yeah, or Audible.
They're still a Audible. Audible is still a credit. Still a credit.
Yeah.
It's just yeah.
Yeah. No.
I've done all the short stories all the way through the hair. I like some of the short stories. I was trying to write a list because someone on one of the live streams like, what were the best ones that you've read again? I need to write them down, and I need to download them on Audible as well and put them in a separate file. Just those short stories, because there's about 5 or 6 of them, like The Lightning Tower and The Last Church and Prince of Crows and Iron Within, which I could just listen to again and again and again. Just so good. I mean, you've done the anthology books as well, so you know the short stories, right? Because you did the Heresy.
I did most of the Heresy.
Most of the Heresy.
When they stopped, because they make omnibuses.
Yeah.
For thing, and this is back in like 2018. I was deployed in Romania and I had a lot of time to read.
Okay.
So I read the entire Heresy,
Nice.
start to wherever I gave up. I think I got to the Damnation of Pythos, which is book 30 or something.
Yeah.
And that's where the omnibus ends. So they didn't package the books up into 5 book blocks anymore. You had to buy them all separately, and I was like, I ain't doing that.
Okay.
I'm not spending... When I could spend 15 quid to buy 5 books, and now it's £10 a book, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. Because Damnation of Pythos is one of those that you can skip.
Yeah, I thought it was alright. Didn't hate it.
Look, the Furious Abyss, is it called Furious Abyss?
Battle for the Abyss.
Battle for the Abyss is okay. This is the first time you meet a Thousand Sons character in the whole of the history of the Heresy. He's a pretty cool guy. It's just the ridiculousness of them making 2 of these ships in Terra in the Saturnine. It doesn't make any sense. And it leads nowhere other than giving Macragge another moon. And then, the Damnation of Pythos, again, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't lead. It's one of these side quests.
Doesn't help that Iron Hands in the lore are a little bit boring.
In the lore are a little bit boring.
They are. Like, compared to the other legions.
They're not boring. How dare you, sir?
They are.
Iron Hands have got
I'm not
the
saying
best
that. I'm not
lore.
saying they're boring compared to life. I'm saying they're boring compared to everyone else.
They're not. No, everyone else is boring compared to the Iron Hands. The Iron Hands are the best.
They're really, really boring.
No, they've got a tragic backstory. Their daddy's definitely dead,
And
like
then they're done.
Sanguinius.
That's their entire story done.
No,
Yeah.
No.
That's it.
no.
The rest of them is just
There's
going
more.
and being petty and getting angry
There's
at things.
more. You know, like the White Scars have all got clans and things, and the Space Wolves have all got clans and things. So have the Iron Hands.
Yeah, but that's not
People
a story.
forget that about the Iron Hands.
Yeah, because they're boring. That's not a story, is it?
They've got all
Like,
these separate city-states.
It's like me going and saying,
around.
so the Air
They're all
Force
different
has the Air
families.
Force has 6 fighter squadrons, and then everyone's just like, and like, it's like Iron Hands have clans. It's like if you said White Scars have clans, like who cares? What's their story? Oh well, half the Legion went betrayed, and Jagatai came in and blew a guy's head up, and then they did this. Well, that's fun.
Well,
They fought the Alpha Legion and won. Magnus and Mortarion and Jagatai had a big fight on the middle of Prospero and almost killed each other. That kind of stuff. You know, Blood Angels. You've got Sanguinius tearing Angron's face off. You've got Russ landing on the Prospero and killing everybody and fighting Magnus and breaking his back. That's fun. Whereas Iron Hands, unfortunately, are a bit boring.
you're making no. You see, you're saying boring, because they're not. Look, all the stuff that you said about Sanguinius pulling the thing and Thing doing the thing and all that. It's because those guys were around to be able to do the thing.
Yeah, Iron Hands weren't there. They weren't doing anything.
And so Iron Hands took the L at the beginning.
And then for the rest of the series, because they're not doing anything.
Iron Hands exited stage left at the beginning of the series, so they couldn't do anything because they weren't around to do anything.
Which makes them, unfortunately, boring.
So, I will concede that over the stretch of the 7 years that is the heresy,
They do nothing.
the Iron Hands had the smallest impact.
Yeah.
Because
from everyone. Even
Yes.
I hate them. I prefer the Iron Hands to the Word Bearers by a fair margin. But the Word Bearers are still more interesting than the Iron Hands.
So that makes... So saying that it's boring in a 7-year period, you can use the word boring for that 7-year period.
We are talking about the heresy.
But I think what happens there is you've got the tragedy at the beginning, you've got the sacrifice at the beginning, you've got the sacrifice at the end. You've got one of the strongest, most powerful legions humbled straight away. You've got the fatalist characters like Shadrach, Medusan and Sharokin. And
Sharokin's a Raven Guard, isn't he?
well, part of the Shattered Legions, he joins the thing.
Yeah, he's the best character in the book. Yeah, he's Raven Guard.
And then Branston with the thing on him when he heals him and all that. You've got some proper OG hardcore Iron Hands characters trying to hold the Legion together after the end and the death, which happened at the beginning of the series for them, not at the end of the series for them. So it's some very interesting things in there.
I just think the issue is when you've got tragic backstory. So you've got 2 legions that I can think of. I mean, everyone has some kind of, but like 2 legions I can think of that have really tragic backstories. There's the Iron Hands with that thing, and then there's the Blood Angels. And I'm going with the ones who turn into flipping space vampires when it goes wrong, as opposed to the ones who go, I'm replacing my arms with metal.
Okay.
I'm going with the space vampires on that one.
Okay.
Even their tragic backstory, unfortunately, is overshadowed. I'm not saying it's their fault; they're fictional characters. I'm just saying that they have a lot that could have been done that isn't.
Well, I'm not going to disagree with you about Blood Angels because I love Blood Angels as well. I like all the legions. I like all the Space Marines.
I don't dislike the Iron Hands.
All the time.
I'm just saying they're boring compared to the others.
I don't think they're boring. Some legion had the least...
So who's the most boring Space Marine legion? If it's not the Iron Hands.
None of them are boring. I wouldn't use the words boring. Some legions had more of an impact than others on the heresy. So on the bad guys' side... The Legion that had the least impact on the bad guy side are the Night Lords, because they were barely functional by the time the heresy
started. They're not
started.
boring because they're going around skinning people and torturing Vulcan.
So
I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying it's not boring.
Yeah, but I wouldn't use the word boring.
I unfortunately would and
okay.
have.
Nice.
Sorry.
Well, you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, my opinion can be wrong.
No,
can
opinions be wrong? I'm not sure if opinions can be wrong, only in comparison with... I think your opinion is your opinion and it's valid to you and it's important to you.
Yeah.
But and you find Iron Hands boring. Fine.
Just compared to everyone else. Like, if they were the only Space Marines who existed, they'd still be flipping Space Marines.
I think if at the start of the heresy there was some kind of massacre and all the Primarchs walked out of it okay and none of the legions were screwed, then it wouldn't... The fact that the drop site massacre wipes out 3 Primarchs... Originally we thought it wiped out 3 Primarchs. Turns out only was one of them. But that was the glorious thing about reading this series when it was released. Like, prior to this, Vulcan was nuked on the... he was dead. And Korax, no one knew what happened to him. The fact that 3 legions were wiped out and one of them a Primarch, and those 3 legions basically didn't bounce back for the whole of the heresy pretty much, that it has that much of an impact, is one of the reasons why the narrative for the Horus Heresy is so good.
Yeah. I do think the Salamanders did it best.
Alex says it all the time. Like, all the good narratives have really good bad guys as well. So the fact that word bearers are so and Erebus is such a dick is good. Everyone hates Erebus. Good. And we had this nasty... It's grim and dark. It's a tragedy. The whole of the heresy is a tragedy. Guess what? You get to the very end of it and it sucks. Everyone loses. The bad guys lose, the good guy loses, everyone loses, the ship sinks, they go down underwater, Rose pushes him off and he freezes to death in the water, even though there was enough room on the bookshelf with her. It's a tragedy.
Is that, and it takes him 10,000 years to freeze to death.
And
that's the issue.
You needed something horrible to start at the beginning, and the fact that they destroyed one of the strongest legions right at the beginning, like that, in a day. Do you realise how much killing it takes to kill 1 million people? In one day.
Huh?
There's 1 million Space Marines dead in a day. In one day. So killing 1 million people in a valley, in a really, really big valley.
It's the size of a planet valley, almost.
Well, no, the Urgul Depression is...
It's big.
It was, it's like 20 miles or something like that. But put 1 million people in a depression the size of London and kill them. It's there's a bit in the first Heretic, that's ADB book, where he's like... I think it's 2 space... I think it might be Argyle Tal and Kana chatting to each other again, because they always like to chat and have tea and biscuits.
Yeah.
And there's an Iron Warrior driving along behind them in their JCB, just bulldozing bodies out the way. It's like industrial JCB diggers with Space Marines, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dead bodies. It's just, you need that level. And I don't think that's boring. I think the fact that we've got that in there at the start gives you a unique perspective on the way they see the world and the way it shapes their perspective after the event. But you think it's boring, which is fine.
No, I didn't think Ferrus was boring. I think his Legion is boring.
The
thing is, they've got all this tragedy and then they don't do anything. So, yeah.
Sultan's Iron Hands rant should be short. Thank you, Jackus Woods, for your 27 months. I appreciate you. 27 months.
Should be a short, not
should be a short.
Yeah.
Sultan's Iron Hand rant should be a short.
YouTube short. Yeah, not be short. So it means he agrees.
I'll go back and find it.
I think it's longer than a short.
I don't think it should be a short because I think it is
wrong.
I think his opinion, as I said earlier on, cannot be wrong or right. It's his opinion, and he's entitled to it. Except it is wrong. It's just wrong. They're not boring. I'm personally offended. If I had a glove, I'd strike you across the face, sir, and we'd be outside dueling. Iron Hands are one of my faves.
I guess you're boring. I'm joking. You're not boring.
I like the fact that it's so bad, and the fact that it is so bad and sucks so much is one of the reasons why I like it. You know, it's like, that crap, okay, gone.
Yeah. I think Vulcan getting tortured to death over and over again was probably a harder way to go.
It might be the hat.
He didn't even go.
Winter seems different tonight. What is happening? The hat.
The hat.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I've offended you.
No.
I'm not going to apologise or say something.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's hot in here, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm just thinking if you had to choose a Space Marine Legion. It's like people use it's easy to choose the best Space Marine Legion because you choose your favourite.
Well, yeah. Right? Whatever Legion you choose is obviously the best
to use.
For you.
Yeah.
Right?
But then, like, mine, I find choosing a best Space Marine Legion far harder than choosing a worst. Because I really love Blood Angels, I really love White Scars, I really like Space Wolves.
Yeah.
I like Imperial Fists.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to be any of the traitor ones, so let's be honest. But like, I like all of the loyalist ones, but Dark Angels not so much, and Iron Hands a bit less.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone has got... Yeah, and it'll be different for different people, for different reasons, for different things.
Dark Angels is because they hurt me a lot in real life. In 9th edition. And I was like, screw these guys.
Screw these guys.
And now I genuinely
They
have
like
like
the Dark
a slight...
Angels.
It's like, yeah, well, yeah. And now they're back with their -1 to wound detachment thing that makes them really annoying to play against again, which is the heresy issue because I can't... nothing happens.
Is it it's -1 to wound them if the strength of the thing is higher than the
when
toughness.
they're toughness 4 or 5, almost everything's higher strength is the issue.
But instead of Trans Hitman, where it was only wound on 4s or more, you can get lots of things that wound on 3s. But wounds on 2s is gone.
You have to get to strength 10 to wound on 3s.
Yeah.
Which is...
Otherwise it's wounds on 4s.
Yeah. So it's basically, When I was playing, Grey Knights against them, for example, against Chris, it was like all my strength 6 Nemesis weapons, and also against Deathwing Knights, they -1 damage as well.
Yeah.
So my strength 6 Nemesis weapons were suddenly basically wounding on 4s with 1 damage.
Nice. They
have 4 wounds each, these guys, and I was like, oh, okay.
I need to write a list and go to another tournament, huh?
Yeah. So that's real life hurting me there.
Yeah.
And that's why the Dark Angels drop off. Even though it's worth mentioning, I have painted 3 Dark Angels armies for other people for commission work. But yeah, I enjoy painting them. I just don't want to play them. I like all their Terminators. I painted so much Deathwing.
When it comes to Space Marine Legions for me, or Space Marine chapters for me, it's not like what I like and what I don't like, and what I, like you said, like you like this one and this one and this one and this one, but you struggle to think about the things that the ones that you don't like. For me, it's not so much like dislike. For me, it's like the ones that I'm more interested in. So the ones that I'm more interested in are the more complicated ones, and then the more stable ones, like Dark Angels, pretty stable. Ultramarines, pretty stable. Blood Angels,
they're not stable.
They're not stable at all.
They got the Death Company.
But they're definitely loyal. They've been in the law. Their first founding. They're.
Oh, you mean stable as in you're not sure which way they're going to go? Because when we're pretty sure.
It's just they're locked in. They're locked in place.
They're going to be
You'll
good
never
guys.
ever. Yeah, they're always going to be a good guy. You'll never mistake a Blood Angel for a Mentor Legion.
You said Dark Angels are stable.
Dark Angels are locked in again. The Dark Angels themselves. I'm more interested in, like, Iron Hands are a bit quirky. Raven Guard are a bit quirky. When you think about loyalist legions, there's a few people who've slipped to the dark side on these sorts of things. It's like I like the Grey Knights because that's a complicated backstory and about how they get Grey Knights and their.
I feel like Dark Angels are a little bit complicated in terms. If you're thinking of it in terms of are they loyal, are they traitor, what's their story? It's pretty complicated. They blew up their own planet. And everyone else's. And half the Legion ran away.
I mean, they'd like you to think that it's all very complicated, but it isn't really.
But nor's Iron Hands.
It's not really.
Lost their dad, get mad.
At the start of the heresy, there wasn't all good guys and there wasn't all bad guys, as exemplified by Garrow and Loken and people like that. And Ispan 3, that crossover between good guys and bad guys, there was a crossover. There was a Venn in the diagram. And then there was also outside of that, people are like, well, screw Horus and the Emperor. We want to go and do our own thing. We just want to be Calibanites. We just want to get rid of... We'll find out which way the wind's blowing and then we'll join whoever wins at the end. It's not that complicated.
Siege of Terror stuff, they don't like the Emperor. They only go with it because that's their only way of getting off Terror because a loyalist chose to take him there. Because Wayne took him there because he's loyal. That's
the other side of... So there's... Yes, I mean there's layers to each story. So now you're thinking about
it's Corswain and Zahariel in that case.
Corswain isn't Zahariel.
No, Corswain and Zahariel.
Yeah.
So Corswain is the loyalist who is loyal.
Yeah.
And then Zahariel is a traitor.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like it or not, he doesn't like the Emperor. Whether he's gone to Chaos or not at that point, he's still a traitor. He doesn't like the Emperor. He doesn't want to fight for the Emperor. That's a traitor.
Yes.
So it's still not loyal. It's still a traitor. It's just not necessarily Chaos traitor.
Yes.
At that point, though, he does become that because.
Well, does he?
He thinks. Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Isn't he in the 40k lore?
Cypher's still around, yeah, and we don't know whether it's the same Cypher or another Cypher.
No, I think Zahariel. Well, the old lore for Zahariel, they haven't necessarily updated yet, is that he turned into a Chaos Sorcerer.
Is it?
Yeah.
The old lore.
Yeah, as in like on like fandom or whatever.
Right. Okay.
So like back because I think he's been a character for quite a while. So he became like a Chaos Sorcerer and stuff in the end because the bit they worship on Caliban is Chaos. They don't know it, but it is Chaos because it really is.
The Ouroboros. It's
yes. It's chaotic.
Yeah. The Zahariel believes. Yeah. So you got the Watchers in the Dark, like they're nulls, and that there is the suggestion that this planet has been formed to house this chaotic thing, or this chaotic thing was somehow trapped in Caliban, and the Watchers of the Dark are the ones that
like the Void Dragon being trapped on Mars or whatever. Yeah,
I think it's Descent of Angels. They talk about it there. Yeah, a bit like the Void Dragon trapped on Mars. It's like maybe the old ones, the Watchers in the Dark, were another species created by the old ones to watch over this thing. Psychic nulls. You know, they dispel the prior things and keep it trapped on Caliban, which is why Vashtor the Archivane comes with the bits of Caliban, rebuilds Wormwood, the tunneling machine. You've got Tel Chulka. There's a whole layer. There's layers and layers. Okay, so the Dark Angels are very complicated.
You brought yourself round
all
through
sorts of things and things.
Yeah.
Basically, each layer of 40k is an onion. And the more you peel the onion, the more you'll cry because it's all bad.
Even
all the way
Ultramarines
down.
have a bit of an onion. Like in Heresy, they're probably as close to cut and dry as you can get, but they again have the tragedy. Like half the star system gets destroyed and Calth gets murdered.
It's all tragedy.
They have all that stuff. Gilliman is too late. Like that is a thing. Yes, he teleports to Terra. He is too late. It has already happened.
Yeah.
He can only get there because it's too late. Because Taurus is dead. So that's the only reason he get there. Because the whole warp storm falls away at the very last. Otherwise he's seeing 1,000 vengeful spirits and he doesn't know what's going on. So Gilliman's too late, and I want to see more of that haunting him. So that's a thing. And then on the other side of stuff, we've got the Ultramarines in the far future, where the further future rather, where they're following the Codex to such a degree that they've become almost stupid.
It's funny, isn't it?
Because they've got complexity.
There's that clip in the Codex in the Heresy, and it's like page 1, chapter 1, title 1 in the and Guilliman writes in the Codex, follow this as much as you need to, but only as much as you need to. Nothing beats. There's a quote. It's a Dan Abnett quote.
Use your initiative.
It's like, yeah. It's like, this is everything I know and everything I think's good. However, there are many times when you need to
adapt and change. And they probably lost page 1.
It's the opening foreword. It's in the Heresy book. And he even talks about it in a bit. There's a bit, I forget who it is, maybe with the Saviour of Calth, and he's like, but I chose to ignore it in this game. But yeah, in 40k they're like, that's not called.
Meanwhile, in 40k, Ventress gets in so much trouble for disregard. Whereas when Gilliman comes back, he's like, that's what I wanted you to do.
Yeah, it's Space Marine 2, and Space Marine, you've got that chaplain guy again. Leandros.
Yeah.
It's like, screw, that's not Codex compliant. Screw you, Leandros. That's not going to.
The Primarch said screw the Codex.
The Primarch said screw the Codex. The Primarch said this is it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's not a code. The Pirates Code is more of a guide.
I saw a thing.
It's more of a guide.
I saw a thing at the end of Space Marine 2. It's like a dub, and it's the bit where he's like, Leandros takes off his helmet. He's like, I'll be watching you, and he gets on the Thunderhawk with Calgar and Titus.
Yeah.
And then all I hear is Titus. Like it cuts away as the Thunderhawk's taken off. Titus goes, hold him, Chapter Master. He's like, have him, Titus. They're punching him. No, he goes, no, please, Titus. Punching him away. It's like just Calgar and Titus holding him down and punching him.
Yeah.
Because I just love that. The fact that the Chapter Master and the Primarch trust Titus. The Primarch obviously hasn't properly met him, but he's trusted him enough to let Calgar go and do this. Andros needs to sort of take a chill pill on that one. It's fun to have someone you don't like in a loyalist chapter, so it's good.
Yeah.
It's like Grimaldus isn't a particularly likable character. I've just re-listening to Hell's Reach. He's a great
Grimaldus
character.
is an absolute arsehole.
Yes.
He screams.
He has moments.
Who's the person? It's a salamander dying. There's a bit in the book, like, as well as screw you to a warlord titan princeps. That moment is really cool as well.
Yeah.
There's a bit where a guy dies, and he screams at him, and so he comes back to life again. He's such an angry, shouty guy. He's like, don't you die on me here? And he's like, okay, I'm back. He shouts someone back to life.
It's when the salamanders show up to help him.
And
the salamanders are like, right, if we leave this place, thousands of civilians are going to die.
Yeah, and he's like, so what?
And he's like, yeah, but we could have killed the warlord and there wouldn't have been further waves. He's like, yeah, but thousands of civilians would have died.
And he's like,
they're just irreconcilable on that point.
Yeah.
And all the salamander has done at that point is just said, hey, can you lead my brothers in prayer, please? Because our chaplain isn't with us.
Yeah.
So can we go to do our Promethean Creed things, but we'll use your rights?
Yeah.
And that's a massive honour to the Templars. And Grimaldus is still like, yeah, but you saved all those civilians and didn't kill an orc, so I'm very mad at you.
Yeah.
I still think Grimaldus is great, but maybe it's because we see it from his thing. But there's like little bits when he's like torturing an orc just to make sure it knows it feels pain.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel pain; it feels failure, and he can see that. And his brother, who is another Black Templar, is like, just kill it. I love it.
One of the things ADB is really good at is he's really, really good at writing bad guys as good guys.
Yes.
So, Khan and Argyle Tal in Betrayer and in Know No Fear.
What's his name? Talos in...
Talos.
Even though he's an awful person because he skins people.
When you actually read... And then Grimaldus. When you actually read... So you follow his story, but if you look at the YouTube short thing, or if you read the thing, what he's actually... He is the bad guy. In any other... Context.
If there wasn't orcs, a Xenos race looking to kill everybody.
Everything he does is the thing that you're not supposed to do.
Yeah.
But he does it and he gets away with it, and you're cheering for him like, yeah, and that's. But
he does also have the fact he's so thing is he does have moments where he is genuinely good. Like he's a really he's a bad guy, but bad people can still have good parts.
He's still a hero, and he's still fighting for humanity,
Anti-hero,
and he's still so he still does heroic things. He still knows what sacrifice is.
He kneels down and talks to a little girl. Like a total villain wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But he's what do they say? Like a bad human being still has good in them, and a good human being still has bad in them.
Yeah.
That's what ADB's great at writing both ways around.
I'm like Arkan Land, absolute dick.
Such a fun character though,
but such a great guy.
Well, it's like Zephon he's been up and down, and Zephon, because ADB really took him to his place. Zephon's
is a good guy.
Yes, but there's the moment where he's talking to Arkan Land and he's like, look after my thralls, basically, look after the blood thralls.
Yeah.
And then when Arkan Land says something, he basically puts his hand on his shoulder and said, if I find you've left them, I will rip every limb from your body one by one, and I will tear your guts out from your arsehole. Basically, something along those lines. Not quite that. He says it a bit more poetically because he's a blood angel, and that's when you go, yeah, there's bad in him too. Yeah. He's got a moment. Even our heroes have those moments.
I love ADB's ability. Whenever I read an ADB book, Aaron Dembski Bowden, I always keep my one ear picked up, one eye picked up, like, okay, this main character who's the good guy here, let's think about what's going on, because he's going to be doing some shady stuff all the time, which is, all right, okay, now we've got the good guy actually skinning. Like in...
The Grey Knight's book, with Hyperion and everyone, when they're just killing guardsmen.
In First Heretic, right?
Yeah.
So First Heretic, you go down to Monarchia, the perfect city, and then there's the lady walking around, forget her name.
She becomes... What's her name? Yeah, because I'll get it.
Chat will know.
Yeah,
she's walking around at the start in the First Heretic.
Agate. She becomes Agate. I forget her name.
And they're talking about the perfect city and what it was like and da-da-da. And on first reading that, you're like, oh, that's a really nice city. Apart from the religion, they shouldn't have the religion. The Emperor's going to get mad. Sure enough, Ultramarines turn up, Emperor mad, Malcador, Big E, everything, boom, dead. Start book.
Yeah.
First 100 pages done. Right. Second time you read, you're like, 1 minute. She's a sex worker. She is a 14-year-old holy sex worker for the priest class on Monarchia.
Oh, I haven't read it in a really long time, so yeah. The bit I remember is that
the
Lorgar smacks
hero,
Malkador.
and this is, and you're like reading it through, and and yeah, Lorgar just gives them out. Yeah, you got that. And when they talk about the holy city, they talk about flagellation halls is a nice one, and the blood bath. So there's
maybe
places.
if they stayed quiet about it and not gone that far.
No, you're reading the thing,
like,
and it's the perfect city and a thing like that, and she does this and and yeah, and you're like, if there's places where they go to all flog each other.
Yeah.
There's places where they go and have their way with
Underage,
registered
yeah.
sex work. This is the perfect city.
Yeah.
They talk about briefly, it comes up throughout the book, here, there, and everywhere. You know, like there was a religion on the planet beforehand, the old Chaos religion, which Lorgar stamped out, waiting for the... So Lorgar's story is, he was always meant to believe he's on a planet where everyone kind of worships Chaos, kind of. And he sees the future, and he sees the arrival of the real God. So he's like, follow me, guys. We will wipe out all this stuff for the coming of the real God. And that's what everyone does, except Corfauron and Erebus. Don't they keep some of it alive and some of it going? The things that they do is like full-on Spanish Inquisition. Well, it doesn't even have to be Spanish Inquisition from the 1400s. It can be 40k Inquisition things that they do to the previous... They invented the Inquisition before it was cool. And that's throughout that book as well. So the horrors... Basically, ADB, you've got to... He's sneaky, that one.
Yeah. Because
he puts lots of shit in there. Oh, this is cool, this is cool, this is cool, this is good. And then you read the second time around and go, 1 minute, between the lines, she hasn't had a great...
Yeah, well, it's, again, like ADB, the Blood Angels, the whole thing. Yeah, you know they used to eat people. That's part of the thing, they just eat people. Amit throws a stone at a guardsman who's being treated and eats him.
All that stuff in the Revenant chapter is in Echoes of Eternity, right? Because, it's in the...
It's dark.
Yeah. Because they touch... I get confused because they touch on it quite a lot in the Primarch's novel for Sanguinius.
It's in the Siege of Terror book.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because in the Primarch's novel for Sanguinius, it's about an inquisitor... It's a journalist, essentially, is going to the Blood Angels to find out. He's heard some weird, shady stuff about eating, and he's gone a lot... There's a lot of... It works in parallel very well with Echoes of Eternity.
Yeah, it's great.
It's warm, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we have to go because it's 10 o'clock.
Is it already 10 o'clock?
Yeah.
We've just been smashing it. Chat, we've been smashing it. Sorry, I've basically completely, apart from the first 15 minutes, 20 minutes, which we can edit out. I kind of, we just chatted.
Yeah.
So
people in the chat would generally just sort of add in.
You look really warm.
Yeah.
We are very warm. If you're not first, last, late to party, evening. Hi, Daniel Ragoni.
I need to go because I've drunk an entire litre of water while I've been here and I need more.
Right.
I'll be back if you're still going, and if you're not, bye chat, thank you.
I can say goodbye to them.
Yeah, you say bye chat and I say bye chat now because I also need to pee.
Okay, I'll say goodbye.
Bye chat.
We'll end there. Press that one, do that one. Thanks chat, thanks for stopping by this Talkie Tuesday and watching me chat 40k with Sultan. It's not that I don't love you. It's not that I couldn't talk 40k or Heresy with you guys. I can talk 40k with Heresy and you guys. Like, we can talk right now. But it's easier when there's someone sat right next to you because you can just chat to them. Whereas chatting to you guys, thank you Raging Horn for gifting a membership, you absolute legend. Chatting to you guys, there's a lot of you guys, and you can only chat to me at the speed of typing. Whereas Sultan, he can chat to me at the speed of chatting. And he does like chatting. He's completely wrong about the Iron Hands. I apologise for all that Iron Hand talk. Iron Hands are the best. We all know this. And Blood Angels are the absolute worst. So thank you for gifting a membership, Raging Horn. Thank you for swinging by this Talkie Tuesday. And and next week, it's probably going to be me again. But I don't know, Sultan, we filmed over the weekend and he's like, can I come around Tuesday? I'm like, yeah, sure, can. Yeah, let's talk 40k. I like talking 40k. And it's easier talking with you than it is with the chat. Thank you, Jackus Woods. Can we still buy post-it notes for $4.99? I think we've established a precedent here. Let me put that one up. You can purchase the ability for me to write post-it notes on the thing to remind me of things. Now, the success or failure of the post-it notes is a whole matter entirely. Like recording and the death, don't forget what Paco said, are both up there. Whether these things will come to pass or not is a whole other thing. But it's a good start. It's a good start. We have a system in place now. Whether the system works or not, I have no idea. Oh dear. Night night, guys. Thanks for joining. Good happy wargaming. What is it? Post-it note more Sultan. Really? You want more of him? More Sultan on the Talkie Tuesdays.
I wouldn't want more me.
Can we buy post-it notes? The answer is yes. And then post-it note more Sultan. I don't know where I'm supposed to put post-it note more Sultan because Sultan is here.
Hello. I wouldn't want more me.
So there's a post-it note for more Sultan. The chat want more you.
Oh. Thanks. I'll be here at some point.
When?
I don't know. Whenever I feel like it.
When do you feel that? Because at the moment it seems to be like once every 6 months. How could I encourage you to feel like it more often? More tea, more coffee? Not that you've got tea or coffee at all this evening, or hobnobs, and I didn't give you them either. I didn't give you anything. I didn't give you a tea, a coffee, Jaffa. I didn't give you nothing. Can I bribe you with something?
No.
Okay.
I'll be here when I feel like it. Bye-bye.